Testing, testing, testing. 1, 2, 3. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are live. Welcome back to another Friday night live stream here at Christ-Centered Ironworks. Thank you for joining us on this lovely Friday. I'm going to say right off the bat that it's been 78 degrees here today where we're at, and I have been boiling alive, so I do not know how I have survived for as many years as I did living in Ohio with 90+ degree heat. So if you guys are from the South, if anybody's in the South, go ahead and drop your temperature reading what it was today. That ought to be fun to see everybody's temperatures, what they've been around the United States or around the globe. So it'd be interesting to find out. Maybe it'll make my balmy 78 degrees not so bad. Up here, so yeah. I need to get a big fan, and then that'll make it really good. It's just because there's not a lot of airflow right now. It was kind of a dead and really hot day, so just a steel and very hot, oppressive sun day. So, but anyways, so look forward to tonight. We've already got a few super chats coming in, so thank you, Gordon Farmer, for always freaking us out a little bit right up the right to start with. Greatly appreciate that. And the other super chats as well. As you notice, the sign changes colors when you do that if you're new here. So we do appreciate those. They were what allow us to do all these giveaways and things like that. So we appreciate them very much so. So in tonight's giveaway items, door prizes and whatnots. We can go to camera number 2, Jessica. We're going to be giving away a pair of scrolling tongs, these little blanks, little scrolling tong blanks. These came from Ken's Custom Iron, provided to us by Couch Forge Company. And this, again, we're going to give away a pair of slot jaw tongs as well in tonight's stream. And then we will also be giving away this decorative coal rake that I had forged in a video series here just recently on YouTube. If you guys haven't checked that out, can they see that okay? Yeah. So anyway, so we'll be giving that away as well as one of the door prizes, along with, additionally, we'll be giving away some of my sticker bundles and sticker packs. So that'll be good. And then we'll top it all off, cherry on top, with the 66-pound anvil. Not this one straight from the factory. This one's mine, but I just brought it over here for an example so you know what it looks like. It's a little dual horn, a Chayo anvil. So we'll be giving one of those away in tonight's stream. And all you have to do to take and enter is just be here in the stream and have a comment put into the whole thing when we announce it. And it'll be a phrase that'll have to be said. So be thinking of some good phrases. And then we just draw at random from the names if you're new here for that. So again, thank you all for joining us, and we will continue on our project this evening. And how are you doing, Jess, and who we got in the house? Sorry, enough of my prologue.
That's all right. We have all kinds of people here. I think we just hit over 70 viewers in attendance, so thank you everybody who is here with us. Oh, no, it jumped up to 85. So yes, awesome. We had a couple of super chats, like Roy mentioned, that we'd seen flash across the sign. The very first one was from Gordon Farmer. Thank you very much. Also, Yamas followed that one up. He said, Roy and Jess, you guys keep rocking it. I will be popping in and out tonight. He said he's watching over a bonfire he's got going on, so he can't let that get out of control. Also, Stephen Watkins, thank you for the $5 super chat. Says hello from Minion Smithy in Vancouver, Washington. And, oh, sorry.
No, I said thank you.
And Coffee's Forge, thank you for the $20 super chat. Says, getting ready to drive home, so gonna miss this. Shipping money, good sir. So thank you very much, Mr. Coffee.
Thank you, Mr. Coffee, sir. Greatly appreciate it. Greatly appreciate it. So, all right. Well, we are going to continue on. That was probably a really loud pop because it was right by the microphone. I apologize for that. I got to stop doing that. So we're going to continue on with our fire crane series here. This is for putting outside, like, you know, over a fire pit or so. We've previously made this top detail, and if you guys can look over here, I don't know if they can see this or not. Hopefully it's within shot, but we've previously made that. We made the top detail already, along with the bottom leg that's connected there. And then we went ahead and forged out these legs the other 3 legs that are a part of the tripod portion of it. And then I went ahead and roughed out and forged out these other tapers in advance of the stream, just so this way I could get on with it and we could get this thing assembled this evening, hopefully. So that's the plan, that's the goal. We're gonna do a little bit of layout up front and do that. But the part we're gonna be working on this evening will be this part right here, trying to get these connected. And we will see how far we get with this. I'm hoping pretty far, but again, we shall see how far we get with that. So hopefully, in the next live stream that we do, we will focus on doing this crane bracing portion of the deal. So it's going to be awfully exciting, I think. What do you think, Jess?
It will be, yeah.
Yep.
It will be. Nice to see this come along a little more than just the tapers, which has kind of been the last 2 live streams.
Yep. Boring. It's like watching paint dry. Although, if that's what type of person you are, I don't judge. You know, you like to watch paint dry, go right ahead. Well, I see we also got a pretty purple super chat. So that's, or mauve, or whatever you want to call it. Fuchsia? Is that what it is? Fuchsia? Well, thank you, Fuchsia Super Chatter.
Yes, let me back this up a little bit. There's 2 orange ones. Well, there's Mr. Coffee's, and then after that, Aimless Adventures in a super chat says, "Good day. I wish it was in the 70s here, 87 with high humidity." Aw.
Way too hot. No, thank you. Thank you very much for the super chats. Really do appreciate it.
The pink one, that one was from Charming Hollow Forge. Says, can't stay more than high, but love you all. Be well and stay safe. I'll be watching when I can and busy.
Appreciate it. Love you too, brother. Thanks, Hans. Thanks, Amy, for letting Hans. At least that's how it works. It's in my household. Jessica has to let me do things. Well. Sure, she seems nice. Sure, she seems innocent. Sure, that's what it is.
All right, well, before we get too far, I know you're going to get started into what you're doing. Also, thank you to Bachmaker, says 85 in the sun, 78 in the shade here in Temuca, California.
Whew. Still too hot for my blood. Bring on winter. Let it snow, let it snow, let it snow. Bring back the flux. That's right. Bring back the flux. Oh. All right, let's go to camera number 2, Jessica, and we're going to get started here. So I have picked one of my 3 legs already, and I have made 2 center punch marks on it, roughly where I would like my riveted holes to be, okay, where I'm going to punch and drift some holes open for us to rivet the legs on. It's not critical where you put these. You can place them wherever you want on here. You just want to make all the other legs match, whichever is your first layout leg. Now, I compared this up to my stand itself and slid it and kind of got it to where it looked right and nice and level. And then I went ahead and made my punch marks there. And then I went ahead and laid out my punch marks on the stand itself. So I can grab that, stay there, Jess. So can they see those punch marks?
Yes.
So there we go. So I've got the punch marks to where they line up, and the legs are fairly even. The legs and the bends are fairly even. So that's all that's critical there. We want to progress each thing at its own step. So I got that ready to go, so I'll move that out of the way. So now for leg number 3, I'm going to align it with the other leg to where it looks square across the back end here where the feet would be. I can usually even up the tops of the tapers if you did those evenly. And then I'm just going to draw a line across. Just to indicate where they need to go roughly. Now, it's not super useful to be super accurate with this. Be as accurate as you can, but when you're forging on this, things are going to stretch and distort and do a little bit, you know, so you're going to have a little bit of adjusting that you're going to have to do. So it's just the subject of the day. It's just the way that you have to do it. So, you know, it's okay if one's a little off to one side or the other. Again, things are going to get stretched out. Things are going to move around a bit and jockey for position as we proceed. So we're going to lay this on the anvil. We're going to get a center punch. Nice broad center punch here. We're going to find the center of the bar. Get lined up in the center of our little soapstone mark. And now I'll hold it down a little tighter. There's that one. And we want these good and deep because we want to be able to find them again when they're in the fire. So now that's all of the layout work done and prepped. So really, it's an eyeball thing. You're going to eyeball it. Obviously, if this was like a fence for like fence pickets or something, and it had to be like super accurate, you know, the placement of them and everything, you would need to take a lot of really good measurements and be as accurate as you could. But with something like this, if one leg's a little one way or a little the other, it's not really going to matter. You're going to be able to make that up when you rivet it together, and then you can always adjust one leg or the other. It doesn't matter, it's a tripod. So it doesn't have to be that accurate. So we go back to main cam. So now we'll go ahead and put one of these in the fire, and we'll get to punching it. What do I got, Jess?
I apologize. The encoder is telling me that's overloaded, so you guys will have to tell me how the stream's running. It keeps flashing that message, so let me know if it's still being a little choppy. So let's see.
Is the stream good or not?
Well, it says we have excellent connection. We have 0 dropped frames, but it's saying the encoder's overloaded, so I'm not figured that out yet. Working on that.
Do you have too many tabs open?
I can close a few things, yeah. Yeah, I can close. I mean, I only had one extra one open. But anywho, while they are responding to how it looks, let's see who we have in here also. Sean McKenzie says 86 Fahrenheit here in Southern Ontario. So even in Canada, still warm up there too. William Bass says hello from Rainy, Virginia. Glad to have you. Let's see who else we have. Matthew Jensimer says us fair-skinned Gensers weren't built for this climate. Let's see, it is choppy. Okay, then I will try to do something about that.
Okay. Bear with us, folks. We'll see what's going on. Lovely technology. Yeah, just leave it on here, on this screen. Go check it.
I'll be right back.
Where are you going?
Check the stuff inside real quick.
Okay, we'll go check on the stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, well, here I am, waiting on her. I will talk at random. It's kind of weird because now I'm just having a conversation with this camera here. I know you all are on the other end. Can't tell whether you can hear me or not, but we got this piece coming up to temp. We'll wait on it to get there. I've chosen for this particular application to punch a hole and then drift it to size. So I'm going to start undersize with a 1/4 inch round punch, and then I'm going to drift it to 3/8 inch round with a drift, a 3/8 inch drift pen. Reason why I'm doing that over, say, a slot punch is I've decided I didn't really need it. The bar is wide enough and I had enough mass around what will eventually become the eye for, you know, the pins for the rivet, that I didn't need to actually do a slot punched hole and drift it open. So you can do this. So you can do this very effectively just by doing the punching and drifting method. It's the same as slitting and drifting. There's not really a big difference here. It's the same thing. You're starting with creating an opening in the steel, and then you're drifting that opening open. You lose a little bit more material with punching than you do, say, if you're trying to, slit and drift. Same thing if you have a slot punch. If you're using a slot punch and then drifting open the hole, you're going to lose, a bit of material, more material there than, say, with like a slitter. And a slitter is like a really thin, narrow, like kind of chisel almost. It's a very, very narrow and thin to basically kind of slice down through the piece, and then you have an opener and then a drift. So I chose to kind of cheapskate my way out and just do a punched hole and then drift that hole open to 3/8 the rest of the way with a 3/8 inch drift pin. So that is the plan as of right now. We will see how that goes. This piece is good and hot. Might have to wait on Jessica to come back or go check on the stream real quick. I'll walk over there, maybe I can shift the camera over. Go to camera 2 here. Let's see. All right. Let me see here. All right, there we are. We're on the Anvil cam. This is a lot harder without Jess, ain't it? Oh. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and punch this. Like I said, we're gonna use a 1/4 inch round punch to start with. If we can be efficient enough to get both holes at once, that's great. I'm going to definitely lay out the second hole while you got some heat. There we go. I'm going to flip it over. Look for our bullseyes. Cleared one slug. Now I'm going to clear the other one. Okay, so in one heat, I switched it. We were able to get both those holes punched in one of the legs. So the hole's been punched now. Now all that's left is we need to drift these open. This is just a tapered 3/8 round rod, nothing special. It's not high carbon steel or anything. It's just mild. And so we'll heat these back up real good, and then we will drift these to final dimension, which will be 3/8 inch round. So put that back in there. Is everything okay?
Yes.
Looking fine now?
No. Still, I'm gonna try to figure out the settings on the back end.
Okay. You have to keep talking to me. Should we shut down the stream and try again?
Some people said it was choppy, and then some said it was okay. So
Okay.
we're okay with it now.
All right, well, you'll have to keep talking to me here because otherwise I have nothing to talk about other than just getting the work done.
All right.
I really rather this not become one of those had a baby eats a boy, goodbye
Yeah.
type streams. So,
Let me find
so I think we had a couple chats come in too.
Okay.
Super chats and whatnot, so. All right. Get my drift set out. Are we on my mic or yours?
Still in.
Okay. It's almost like we've never done this before. We're regressing slowly as time goes on. I swear, ladies and gentlemen, once you think that you have something figured out when it comes to YouTube, there's always some little bug or glitch or something else that has to change up on you. You get all your settings set perfect, and then just whatever day it'll be, it'll just change one thing, and all it does is need to be one thing out of sync, and then there you go. You have all sorts of problems. So lots of fun, I assure you.
Let's see here. We did have some questions on any advice on forging in a residential area or areas where you might have noise curfews.
Don't break the noise curfew, and find ways of becoming friends with your neighbors fast. So, you know, in general, if you're living in a fairly young neighborhood, and you know you got a couple rowdy neighbors or you know people like that, then you know fine, all's fair in love and war, right? You know you could probably do a little bit of forging, play a little music, this, that, what have you, and you'd be fine. If you live in an older neighborhood where people are like to eat their tapioca and go to bed at 7 p.m., you're probably out of luck on the whole forging deal to be getting off work at 7 and, you know what I mean, go out after dinner and hammer till 10:30 at night or whatever. Really, it just kind of comes down to, in a residential area or even in a country area or a country-like setting, it really just comes down to having some common courtesy for your neighbors. You know, you won't want somebody to be having a rave every evening at the next door neighbor's house. Maybe you do, but if you don't particularly like that, you probably wouldn't like a power hammer running. You know, they might not particularly like a power hammer running at midnight, right? So there's just some things to think about there. It's just having that common courtesy. There are things you could do to take and quiet your anvils down to where it's almost unheard. You can do insulating of your garage or your workshop to where you can sound deaden the thing to where you won't incur a lot of noises or things like that. Some people have basement shops if you have a basement in your house, and that deadens a lot of noise being in a basement. So you know that can be a real good blessing that way if you have a basement shop. Those are just some things. Equipment, power tools, taking like hydraulic pumps and motors and stuff and putting them in a separate room that is insulated and climate controlled to where you're isolating the noise from your main working space, which can be hollow and big and therefore echo quite a bit. There's stuff like that you can do and really help out your stuff. If you can get sound curtains, they make sound curtains or like sound blankets that you can hang. Like if you're in a fairly tall shop or garage. I don't know if they're flame retardant or fireproof. That's something to look into. But if you have the opportunity to purchase those are kind of expensive, but you can hang those up and those will deaden out noise as well. So, those are just some general suggestions. Maybe think about if you live in town. The other thing is if you have a schedule where, say, most of your neighbor friends get off at, say, 5 p.m., 6 p.m., or they're home by 7 or whatever most evenings, if you can get home ahead of time and beat them to it, then great. You know what I mean? If you can forge earlier in the day, that would be great. And that way, you'll have to do some adjusting on your own personal schedule, but it's that kind of give and take sort of relationship with the neighbors. It goes a lot further than you think. There you go. That's it. We ready to drift this? Yeah, go ahead. Okay. Then you'll have to keep dropping me questions if you can. Yeah, I got another one lined up. Okay. And who was the yellow super chat? I missed it. So. The Bachmaker was? Okay. Go to camera number 2. All right. Next thing's next. We're going to drop in our drift. This is going to be kind of a pain in the butt because it's tall. Straighten this a little bit. Oh, I think it wants to be a booger. Wasn't nearly hot enough. We're going to have to get that just a little bit hotter. We did drift it, but I also bent the drift a little bit. Good thing it's just mild steel. Be honest with you, it's kind of hard to hold on to this weird shape here. It wants to kind of kick around on you. We'll get that hot one more time.
All right, I'll read you off a few comments and questions. Let's see here. Chewy, aka Reek Nicholas, thank you for the $5 super chat. Says, my wife would kill me if my shop was in the basement, LOL.
Well, happy wife, stay alive. Happy wife, stay alive. That's always good too.
And thank you, Berserker Gang, for the super sticker. Says, keep it up. It's a pair with workout weights.
Well, thank you very much for the super chats and the super stickers. That is awesome.
This next question comes from Brett Larson, who says, so why the change in the forge layout?
Well, great question. The reason for the change in the forge layout is because I had to pull everything out. Oh, sorry. I had to pull everything out of the forging area to put gravel in. And I wanted to test the forge off to my left, which it's a little further out than what it was previously. I wanted to try it off to my left and further apart. I wanted to spread everything out a little bit more into this space, because what I found with everything being a lot closer, I was having to kind of weasel my way in and out of equipment to get over to the power hammer or to walk over to the tong rack and things like that. So I wanted to give everything just a little bit more space. I've always had the forge to my right, and the reason for that being is I've only ever been in shops where I had enough space to slide the forge all the way against the wall. I didn't have enough space to have the forge out in the middle of the room. So the forge always had to go against the wall and not out in the middle of the room. So that means the blower, the hand crank blower on it, always had to take and be out in the middle of the room. Does that make sense? So this way I could access it. Otherwise, it would have been against the wall, the forge would have been away from the wall, and it would have made my setup a little bit more complex. But now, since moving here, I'm more open air, I have a lot larger space, I can now have it to where that handle's to my left, and I can just turn to the right and do things. So I wanted to try that out. I may end up moving the forge back a little bit closer to me. I don't know. I'm still trying to figure that one out, like what I want to do. Over where Jessica's sitting, there's going to eventually be a large layout table for my work, so this way I can lay out larger projects along that area. And then over to my right, that you guys can't see, over in this other area, that's where I'm going to have some things like a fly press and my much larger 500-pound helve hammer that I will be building. So that will be going over here to the right. And so I wanted to change up that layout now. It may not stay this way. It may change a little bit more before I end up putting in the stone hearth and start making things more permanente. So, which it may be getting more permanent here soon. But time will tell. Great question. So let me cool off the reins of this real quick. You can go back to the anvil cam, Jess. All right. Back over this hole again. Just where'd you go? Always a pain in the butt when it doesn't want to act up or when it doesn't want to act right. All right. Oops. So a wee bit on the spicy side. All right. There we go. We've been drifted from both sides on the one. If you guys can see the size difference, can they? brush that off good. And so now I need to do the back one. Then we'll do the other leg.
Thank you guys for these super stickers. We're getting a couple more super stickers. Rev, Michael M sent the pair dropping the mic. So, mic drop.
Like dropping the tongs.
Yes.
and dropping the drift and dropping everything else.
Also, thank you, Matthew Gensimer, for the $1.99 super chat. And he says, great stream, guys.
Thank you. Thank you.
Let's see here. I did ask for a couple of questions if anybody had asked and wanted to bring those up again. So I got a couple for you. D Good says, is there a maximum number of times you can heat your part up?
Yes, there is. I doubt you'll ever reach it though. Unless you burn it up completely within one heat or so, or a couple heats, like there's not really a maximum that you'll be able to obtain. The longer you work, say, a piece of like mild steel in the forge, you're losing material, you're losing mass to oxidization or scale. Also, the higher it has to stay at heats where it heavily oxidizes, the more pitted the surface will become. So the surface texture will become more and more weathered. And that may or may not be what you're wanting to get after. Most of the time in my forging, I'm looking for nice, clean, smooth surfaces. So that's not what I want. In a gas forge, you can basically leave a piece in long enough, say 10, 12 hours sitting there running at heat, and it'll almost delaminate completely. It'll just turn to rust, basically, all oxide inside the forge and look like it got burnt up. So yes, there is a maximum of things that you can do, but as far as heating, working, heating, working, heating, working, heating, working, usually you have the part or the product done long before you would ever reach that point. You would have to be pretty obsessively and obscenely heating it. I mean, it would have to be an obscene amount of times that you're heating a piece. Now with high carbon steel, that is a bit different. High carbon steel, every time you put it in the fire and you bring it up to higher temperatures, you are losing a little bit of carbon. It's trading off a little bit of carbon content, very minuscule. It's not like you can pick it up and like, oh, that's got 0.1%, 0.01% carbon less. No, you won't be able to do that, and you probably won't even notice it in your final forged blade or result or whatever you're doing. But you are giving up a little bit each time, and with some of the more alloyed type steels, that can be a problem. So, you want to get as much work done within a heat as you can. So be efficient with your work with those type of steels. Being efficient is just valuable all the way across the board. Sometimes you can't be, and it's not pragmatic to be, but if you can, go for it. All right, let's go back over. Anvil cam. And thank you all for the super stickers and the super chats and all that good jazz. Greatly, greatly appreciated. All right. All right. Straighten that out. All right. So we went through it once, and we'll have to go back through it again a second time. So get it heated up again. If this wasn't such an awkward piece, I could probably do this in one heat. The drifting portion of it, separate from the punching, I could probably get both holes drifted in one heat. But since it's a weird, awkward piece, it's not, that's throwing a kink in my works. It's making it a little more difficult for me. I've had a few people make mention before that my shop doesn't look overly that big. And I've had a few people mention that, you know, in some of the update posts and things like that that I've done. And the interesting thing is I can't get everything in this lens. So I'm at as wide as that camera will go, and what you're looking at in that field of view is no wider than, just a little wider than my arms, but it's kind of compressing about 25 foot of wall space down to what looks like my arms here. So it's kind of taking those and kind of bending them in to get into the picture. So I've got a really big shop, so I wish I had a camera that could get it all. I could get it back far enough, but if I got it back far enough to get this entire wall, I would look this tall. I would look this tall. So it's quite the big shop. And but the interesting thing is I thought, oh, this is going to be so epic and it's going to be so sick, and I'm going to be able to get all these cool camera angles in the shop and stuff now. And like, yeah, no, I'm still going with the same camera angles up close where the metal's working anyhow, because I can't get any of the backdrop. I can't get enough of the backdrop in with the foreground to begin with. So it's been a little bit of a mind change, a little mindset change.
Also, you guys will notice Jeffrey Walker had sent a super chat a little bit earlier. He says, I like the new shirt merchandise. Yeah, that's actually a little saying we have around here, the Blacksmith family. Yep. And we do have those up in our Teespring if anybody wants to show their Blacksmith family pride.
Yeah, appreciation.
That's right.
Thank you for the super chat. Thank you for the super chat.
Also, Wild Bill Ford, she sent the green super chat and said, I swear YouTube is the best school around. Love this channel.
Glad you love the channel. Thank you. Thank you for the super chat. Glad to teach. Glad to teach. Let's go back to the anvil, Jess.
All right.
Gotta keep this moving. Okay. All righty. All right. That one's drifted to size. That won't need no more tip tap tapping. Go and brush this. Keep that brush nice and clean like. So I'm gonna let this kind of cool just a bit. Basically, we're waiting for this to get down to below the non-scaling point, and that'll keep our stock nice and clean. Like a rotisserie, a wee little metal kebab. Just roll it right around. All right, so there we go, that's clean enough. If everybody likes that, looks good. So that should fit our rivets when we make those, but that should fit that through there. Of course, I'll have to forge on this a little bit when I put it through. It'll fit in there nice and tight like, but don't get it stuck in there now. There you have it. So there's one leg done. So now I need to set it off to cool, and I need to make the other leg. Get the other leg hot. And while that heats up, can they even see me on frame there, Jess? Yes. Am I just barely?
Yeah, you're like facing, you're right on the edge.
I'm right on the edge, guys. Right on the edge of the abyss of the shop.
Yeah, I had to float myself back to the other corner so I wasn't blocking your head. So.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. So I magically reappeared in the left-hand corner of the screen instead.
So now I gotta look over this way to talk to you?
No.
Or this way?
The other way, but...
Hi, Jessica. What do you think about that? Pokety.
Funny because he's staring off into space right now.
Poke. Oh. All right, well, while that heats up, let's give something away. What do you think? Sure. All right, real quick before we do, status check. How many people do we have in the stream?
All right, we are sitting at 153 viewers. Make that 164, it just updated.
Woohoo!
And 86 likes.
Aha!
And lots of comments.
Right on. Lots and lots and lots and lots of comments, right? So, all right, so the way this works, we're gonna draw for these slot jaw tongs. Again, Couch Forge Company, thank you, sir, so much for providing these to us for free. So this way we can take and give them away for free. Greatly appreciate that. And again, these tongs are from Ken's Custom Iron. Couch Forge Company bought a whole bunch up for us to be able to give away. So can't say thank you enough for footing the bill of that cost and supporting us. Really do appreciate that. Now these tongs right here, you don't see a rivet with them, but I will ship a rivet. There will be a rivet that came with them that'll go. That way I just have less pieces. You see it on there, Jess? Camera 2. So these are slot jaw tongs. These are meant for like holding blades or flat bar stock, you know, on the end like so. They work fairly well. I kind of like them. They work pretty good. I think they work really good at flat bar stock tongs. They work good for that, gripping it on in. So again, you can see them just flame cut like that. So we're gonna give these away. So the way this works, you can go up to camera number 1, Jess. The way this works, you have got to make a phrase. You got to say a phrase down in the comment section. Just me won't work. So you got to take and say a phrase in order to get entered to win here. And we will draw for this. Again, if you don't win these, don't go, ah, darn, and leave. We've got other opportunities for you to win. And then at the end of the stream, if you haven't won, then go ahead and leave. You're welcome to then, but you'll want to stick around the stream just to see if you do that. And plus, we got to see how this project's going to turn out. So, all right, we ready, Jess? Yes, we are. Let's draw for it.
All right, I landed on Rick Vinson, who says, I wish for tongs.
Your wish has been granted. Wouldn't it be hilarious if I like went away like, you know, genie in a bottle and like popped up all of a sudden and handed him the tongs and then faded away and came back? I wish that was a thing. That would be awesome. Congratulations, Rick. You're the winner of the slot jaw tongs. Get with us through the contact link in the description. The contact link in the description. Very important. You've got to go through the contact link. So it makes it easier for Jessica and I to be able to find the winners, and we don't have craziness going on. Which will bring me to a Roy rant here soon. Okay. But we haven't verified it yet, have we? No, should I mention it? You can if you want. I'll mention it, okay, because I'm gonna. So, yeah. But we're not gonna do that just yet. Maybe with the next one. The next one.
They have to anticipate the Roy rant, you know.
So congratulations, everybody. Give them a round of applause. Thank you for being here. And again, like I said, we've got another pair of tongs to give away, a coal rake, some sticker packs, and an anvil. So you definitely want to stay around. Thank you all for the super chats. Everyone who's doing those, they really do help with the shipping and the purchasing of items to be able to give things away. So we do greatly appreciate that. It helps us keep this whole thing going. So thank you very much. All right, where's my glove? There it is. My drift has just been sitting down here. Go ahead and cool off my drift real quick. Big shop problems. You have to take a Segway to everywhere you go. In that shop. Alrighty then. We ready? Yes. All right, let's go to camera number 2. All right, we'll get this set up there nicely. I'm going to find my center punch mark. Get to my second one. Got to take advantage of the heat while you have it. Of course, dropping it always helps. You lose all sorts of heat and time. That come a little off there. I have to bring that back over a bit. We'll just make that the inside. Flip that over. Look for our bullseyes. One slug gone. Next one. This thing does not like to balance nicely. Just a weird angle. All right, there we go. Got that one out. And as you can see, that one got off to one side. The front one did. It got off crooked. We'll fix that with the drifting. We'll put that side down, put the short side down in the fire and drift it that way first. So, and once we get the drift pin in there, we can reset it to get it back over. But we got both our holes in there. Now before we go too far, we're going to work on the problem hole first. We want to work on the problem hole. And the whole reason why that happened is because the bar rolled on me. So as I was hammering down, the bar rolled. So I was coming up on maybe the high side of the bar and it was rolling under the pressure, and when it did, it carried my punch to the side. And so therefore, that's what ended me up with a crooked hole going through there. If I would have came almost dead center on top of the bar, took a little extra time, it would have come out more centralized and it wouldn't have rolled off to the side. Would have went a little bit better. So if you're struggling with that on round bar, that's most likely. You're not perfectly dead center, so it's rolling on you and it's drawing your punch to the side. And that's where you get blowouts from.
We have a couple of questions about punching. One is from Ansel's Adventures, says, does the punch have a hole in it or is it solid?
Go to camera 2. The punch is solid. There's no hole in the punch. It's a solid punch. So that way we can punch it. It's not like a leather punch, like a leather hole punch, where you're pulling out a slug that way. What we're doing with the punch is we're actually flattening or compressing the material and pushing it out to the sides. So we're pushing down material, or compressing it, and it's going out away from that punch and around the outsides of that hole as we're punching it down through. And then when we back shear the plug out, that's where we get just this little tiny slug. Versus like with leather punches, you're actually removing a hole, like you're cutting a circle out of a strip of leather, which is a bit different. So, great question.
The next question is from Brett Larson, says, what do you use to cool your drifts and punches? Do you just like to use water or do you use beeswax? I think it's beeswax anyway, like Jamie has set up in the Goshen shop.
There's a difference between cooling and lubricating. So water is your quickest way to cool a material. Lubricating it, to lubricate something, it's beneficial to do beeswax, or sometimes you'll have guys have beeswax or paraffin wax melted in with some graphite and other mixtures of all kinds. So, but I usually just use, for something like this, water to cool my punches. And I don't usually wax them or anything like that for something small like this. Now for hammer eyes and things like that, I will use wax or oil or whatever I can that will gum up on the surface to kind of get a little bit of lubrication, a punch lube like that. But on something small like this, it's not necessarily needed. Let's go to the anvil, Jess. Good? Okay, so we're going to stick this through here, the drift. Get that to shove over a little bit. It's going to need a little more help for another heat or so. We'll slowly work that back over. We might not get it perfectly over, but we'll do our best to help shove that drifted portion over. We want to work on that part first because there's no point in moving on to the other hole if that one's still jacked up. You know, we're just wasting time with that leg. We may have to end up forging another leg, which we won't do in this stream, but because I will take advantage of the power hammer for that sort of nonsense. What we got?
Let's see. Niels Mayer says, greetings from Germany where it's 12 p.m. Well, hello. 12 p.m. Yep. Also, we have, let me backtrack a little bit on some super stickers.
Go ahead.
Gordon Farmer sent us a pair offering up a cup of coffee or juice. I'm not sure what that is. Berserker Gang sent a cool pair sticker. And Wild Bill Forge says, I love how much fun you guys have. Doe Creek Forge sent $2 to support your Roy rant, followed by Gordon Farmer sent £2, says Roy rant please. Good. Neil Graham says, thank you Roy and Jess. And that's followed by Yama's, let me scroll down to the bottom here, Yama's, the mustache. The mustache.
Oh, thank you all. Thank you all very much for the super chats. Thank you for everybody who's hanging out in the chat. Do greatly appreciate each and every last one of you. Really do. Roy rant will be incoming after we get this straight. Depending on how well this goes, it might be more fierce. Or it might be more relaxed and laid back. Who knows? I got to cool off this handle here. We'll go back over the anvil, Jess.
All right. And I'll just give you a little data check here. We are sitting at 6 p.m. Eastern time, just about, and we have 208 concurrent viewers. And on YouTube, it says our connection is excellent. Again, it doesn't say there's any issues, so hopefully that is true.
Good. All right, back to drifting. Yeah, I didn't quite get over where I wanted it, but I think we'll just have to survive with that. I'll try it one more time to get it over where I would like it to be. I'll drift it one more time and we'll see. It's not too bad, but not what I was wanting. Just a little split of tension and focus when you're punching. Once it's gone, it's going.
A couple of people have asked about the status of the baby birds.
Okay. Status of the baby birds. We don't know what happened to them. We came out here and they either flew the coop or, more unfortunately, which I think is probably more likely, something's snatched them and ate them. So, because the mama and daddy bird kept flying around with worms and grubs and looking all over the place. It was really sad. They're busy looking around all over the place for the babies, but we came out here and we looked down in the power hammer and there wasn't not one bird, was there? Not a feather, not nothing. So not one baby bird. And the reason why I said they could have possibly flew the coop is because they were almost all fully feathered. So they did have a lot of feathers. So there is a possibility that they did get old enough that they could have flew out. But they were awful young. So let's hope it was the former and not the latter. That, you know, they got old enough that they could fly, spread their wings and fly, and they didn't get cut short. So too many things get cut short in life.
Chris Barbie asked the status on your coffee supply.
Status on my coffee supply. So, status on my coffee supply is the coffee is still in my cabinet, huh? Yep. Yes, it is. So, it is stocked up. I have not been having coffee though for quite a while, so I don't know if I'll just keep doing that for the summer and then go back to drinking my coffee in the winter or what, but I haven't decided yet. I will tell you, there are mornings I wake up, I'm like, man, I need a coffee. But then it's like, yeah, it's so hot. So, which I'm a weakling right now. I can't believe I'm saying it's so hot at 78 degrees, you know. It's like right now it's probably like 74 or so. And so for most people it's like, man, that'd be a cool breeze. But you gotta understand, I'm coming from like 50 and 60 degree weather up here. So 78 is spicy. 78 is spicy. Unless you're going to send a bunch of super chats because the supplies are low, in that case, it's been days, man. I don't know. Don't know if I can hold on much longer.
Oh, Yamez had left a message earlier with his mustache. It says, popping back in to say hi again. Here's the mustache.
Well, thank you for the mustache, Yamez. Appreciate it. Oh. All right, we'll let that come up just a little bit more to heat. It's almost there. I just want to get a little extra heat into it because I'm going to cool off the side that's bulged out too much and then leave the other side that is hot. Leave the other sides that's thicker and not bulged out enough hot, and hopefully that'll help center it up. Usually it does, but it's not always a guarantee. So, what do you think, Jess? Oh, here.
Yes.
What do you think, Jess?
Oh, yes. That is excellent.
Huh?
No, that's just funny to see you turn around the opposite direction talking to me. Let's see here. Matthew Gensimer says, shout out to supportive wives. We can do silly man things. We can't do silly man things without you.
Yeah, shout out to wives. Good wives. Can't ask for nothing better. Oh. Can't ask for nothing.
ENC says, do you ship winning things to Canada?
I ship anything but the Anvil to Canada. So the Anvil, unfortunately, is insane in price to ship out of country. So we're not doing that since we ship it straight from the manufacturer, or the manufacturer ships it straight to you or whatever. We just buy it from them and plug in your address if you're the winner. But all the door prizes we ship anywhere in the world. So it doesn't matter where you're at, we're going to ship it to you. If you win it, we're going to ship it to you. So but I originally wanted to do a worldwide thing on the Anvil, but then realized that's a bad idea. So not enough money in my bank account to be able to do that. So
Gordon Farmer sent £2 for the coffee supply, LOL. And let's see here. There's another comment about coffee. Bill Smithy says, I quit drinking coffee 45 years ago. It was keeping me awake while I was driving.
Bill, you just may be a danger on the road without your coffee. Huh? All right, let's go to the Anvil, Jess. I'm going to cool down this one side. And so what you guys can't see is I got a little dipper can here that I'm just cooling off the one side of this thing. Or attempting to. It doesn't have to be super cool. It just needs to be colder than the rest of the bar, so the rest of the bar can have a chance to expand. And that looks like that's about as far as I'm going to be able to take that. So we're just going to have to live with it. I don't want that to get too much larger there. Stick it through that side. All right, well, we got that drifted. We're able to push it back over a little bit. It's fine. It's an art project. If this had been a piece for a railing or something else like that, this would probably get pitched and I would start again. But clean this up on the anvil horn a little bit. All right. So there we go. There you have it. So now I'm going to go ahead and get that back one drifted open. And we'll be swimming with gravy.
Speargrass Forge, to answer your question, our actual shop size is 40 by 50. He asked because he was going to be building a new home soonish, and with that a new smithy, so he was getting ideas.
Bigger is better.
But more upkeep cost.
Yes, but bigger is better. So I'm just going to say that because you think, oh, this is all the shop I'll ever need. And then you'll get a tool or you'll get a really good deal on a tool and you'll realize that you can't fit it in your shop and do anything else, and then you'll be expanding on. If you're just getting started and funds are kind of a concern or something like that, go for a smaller shop that's less upkeep, less overhead at first, and then go on. But if you have the opportunity to build a nice big shop to begin with, you won't regret it. So you won't regret it in the long run, especially if you keep it up. So say you go down 5 years down the road, 5, 10 years down the road, and you say, you know what, enough of this blacksmithing business, I'm tired of this. Well, now you can park tractors in your nice big 4,000 square foot complex or whatever else is your hobby, right? You can put your fly fishing stool where you tie flies right in the center of it and listen to the echo of your thoughts. At any rate, it's great. So, thank you for the orange super chat.
The orange super chat. Yes, that was from Wild Bill Forge. He says, I love you guys so much. Here's a small donation for the cause.
Super appreciate it. Thank you very much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for being here.
We have a question from Joseph Johnson, who says, I'm working on my first set of tongs, and every time I try to rivet them together, it swells too much and rips when I open them. If I stop before that point, the rivet falls out. Do you have any suggestions?
Sounds like you're getting your thong, sorry. Yeah, you're getting your thong too thin. There's a picture in my head that just sounds bad. You said ripping. No, anyways, enough of that. You're probably, let's get serious. You're probably getting your tong boss too thin before doing your forging exercise. Leave it a lot thicker than what you currently got it now. It shouldn't be ripping or tearing open. It shouldn't be ripping or tearing open when you put in a rivet and you upset that in there. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm trying real hard to keep it together. I'm not laughing at your comment. My brain went twisted there for a second. And anyways.
Should we cut to a commercial?
Yeah, cut to the commercial, Jazz. Cut to the commercial break. So, oh boy, yeah, a lot of tong failure. Keep that out so don't burn. A lot of tong failure comes right at the boss or the jaw. So if the boss is being beaten too thin, you're never going to be able to give it. There's nothing for the rivet to grip to, because the rivet needs to swell inside that hole and grip the sidewalls of that hole. So that's where you have to leave some thickness in the boss itself. Then I would suggest drilling instead of punching the holes for where you're going to put your rivet through in your boss, and then go ahead and rivet it. But you need that rivet to be nice and snug when it goes in there, and then put it together. I have an entire playlist, I have an entire series on making tongs where I go over in real detail how to do that and do it accurately every time. So I really suggest you check that out. And now Jessica's turning red, so. They're too funny. Hopefully, let's keep them G though. Let's keep them G rated. This is a family show, a family show. But yes, my mind went there and I was laughing. So we got a bunch of instigators in the stream, I'm sure, that are like, we've got them. Let's make it funny now. All right, let's go back to the anvil. I got to cool off the area I'm at. Cool off my leg there. The hilariousness. I know when Jessica starts turning 3 shades of red, it must be funny. Me? Yeah. I don't know. Well, considering I'm a lazy guy, there. No, I believe the longest day in the forge that I've hammered was about 15 hours. That was about the longest I worked in a day. And I was dead dog tired the next day. It was a rush order, but yeah, I worked for about 15 hours. So can they see that there, Jess? I'm sorry, I didn't tell you to go to camera 2. Is that okay? All right, good. All right, we'll go ahead and drift that from the other side, and we'll call that leg done. So, yep, about 15 hours of hammer work. So I could go, I don't know, I mean, that's it. Again, I don't like to marathon stuff. I don't like to marathon forging. I like to be efficient in the shop. I do the amount of work that's required, and then I quit hammering when it's time to quit hammering. So that's basically it. If you do something to where you get to complete exhaustion, or your arms are all locked up, or Charlie horsing and things like that, you're hurting your body, and that's not going to be good for you long term. So I'm a self-preservationist at heart when it comes to that. I want to be forging well up into my 190th birthday, so yeah. So I take my time. Usually it's a relaxed pace in my shop. If I have a lot of production run orders and things are picking along pretty good, you know, I'll have a more speeded up pace. But generally with the type of orders and the work that I'm doing, the interest isn't on how many of something I can make, but how well I can make one thing. So it's a big difference there. It depends on your shop. And that will also have a big difference on how long you can actually be in your shop for a day and work. So, you know, heat takes time. Sit here, get a drink of water, do whatever you gotta do, and you know, take your breaks, and you get along just fine.
Thank you for the couple of super chats that came in here. I'm gonna have to read it, but the Wild Bill Forge, he sent a super sticker that says "Wait for it," and then that was followed. Hold on, my computer's scrolling slow. Mongo Graham, $2 for your tong replacement.
for my thong replacement. Oh man, what a bunch of hams. Love you guys, thank you, appreciate it. No. All right, we'll get this drifted open and we'll give something else away. How's that sound?
Sounds good. Brian Neely, can I go ahead and answer a question while you forge that? Okay. Brian Neely, yeah, our kids have shown interest in both blacksmithing and enameling. They were out the other day, and we got out some of Roy's test anvils that he's the Harbor Freight and stuff like that, and let them beat around on some copper wire and some small stuff. So they enjoyed that. Also, Mythgard has a question. It says, Mythgard, any ideas for small projects for Father's Day? I'm on some major crunch time here.
Small projects for Father's Day. Key rings, leaf key rings, small bottle openers, the type that you don't have to slit, and drift, but the ones that you just bend over, like on a crook, and maybe put a little twist in them. Stuff like that are pretty good Father's Day items to take and do. If you don't have a father that, you know, needs a bottle opener, then I would go with like leaf keychains or things like that. There's not a whole lot that you can do in that time, but you still got a little bit of time, so you can make that worthwhile. Got to redrift this one hole.
Yeah, a couple of things. If he's into grilling, you know, you could always do something for the grill, like a spatula. Yeah, meat fork, things like that. Or if he's into fishing, you could always make some forged fish hooks also.
Yep. We on the main cam? Or are we on the other? Let's go to the other. All right, so there we have it. We got one crooked hole, one straight hole. So we'll see how that looks in the finished result. I might regret putting this piece into it, but time will tell. Keep it there. So there we go. Now we got two pieces. We'll line them up, and they line up basically perfectly. I don't know if they can see that. There's not enough light to get through them, but they line right up, so that's good. So that's the main parameter there. So that'll work good. So now I can set these off to the side, and we'll give away something else. We'll get this other piece heated up. What time are we at, and how many people we got, Jess?
We are sitting at 6:17 p.m. Eastern time, of course. 251, oh, no, it just updated. 280 viewers, 129 likes. That is where we are.
Greatly appreciate it. So, all right, right on. So let's give away coal rake. What do you think?
Yeah, that'd be a good one.
All right, like we've said before, if you're just joining us, all you have to do is comment a phrase in the comment section down below, and we just draw a name out at random of those who are commenting. You don't have to, no purchase necessary or anything like that. The only thing we ask is that you keep the comments nice and friendly, and that you contact us right after the stream is over with through the contact link in the description. So that's the only prerequisites there. So that, and I guess there's other rules and stuff, but you can look at those down in the description down below. It's like the yada yada 18, or a legal guardian has to vouch for you, and yada yada yada, lawyer mumbo jumbo. There you go. Good? Oh, do I need to show it off down here again? Let's do that. So there we go. I made this in a tutorial video of making this coal rake here. A little decorative coal rake. Using spline stock and a bit of flat bar stock. So we'll be drawing a name out of the hat for that. All right? Are we ready? We are. All you gotta do is make a phrase. Common phrase. Ready? Yep. Set, go.
We have Jeffrey Walker with, you know you're a blacksmith when you misbehave, so Santa will bring you coal in your stocking.
Yes, you do. Jeffrey Walker, congratulations. You won the coal, you are the winner of the coal rake. Fine, sir. Get with us with your contact information down below. All out of water. It will be bad. Might have you go in and get me some here in a minute. But, all right, get my fire stoked up there just a bit. Also, while we're here, let's go ahead and give away some stickers. All right, sticker packs. Thank you all for the super chats, by the way. Greatly do appreciate them. They allow us to ship these things anywhere in the world. So super appreciated. And just make it real clear. I like to say that. I know I say that a lot. Sometimes you'll hear people say that in streams, in live streams. Like, oh, I thank you for your donations. Oh, I thank you for the super chats. Oh, they go to pay the light bills or they go to do whatever. And sometimes that can sound like maybe they're just trying to put a plug out there for themselves. But in general, I don't speak for everyone on YouTube, but these live streams do cost quite a bit to get all set up and do. They do cost time, they do take materials, they do take fuels, things like that. And it really is the community, the Blacksmith family that comes together and supports this stream that helps us. It really is exactly as I'm saying. It all goes into being put back out in the community with giveaway items and tongs and you name it. And that support is hugely and dearly felt. We really do appreciate it. So thank you all so much. Thank you for spending your hard-earned dime with us, supporting us so we can continue to take and support other blacksmiths out there. We really do appreciate it. It can't be understated enough. So I'll constantly say it, regardless of whether you like it or not. I'm very repetitive, if you couldn't tell by my videos. All right, let's go to camera number 2, Jess. So we're gonna give away put it upside down. Don't wanna do that. That's sacrilegious, don't wanna do that at all. Year of the Anvil. One nice round sticker there that's see-through. Another square sticker that could be turned around if you wanted. That's also see-through, and then a solid black sticker as well. So this is what you'll get in this little sticker pack, little sticker bundle. Stick to your toolboxes or anything else you want. Thank you, Dana Maggiore, for sending these to us, so this way we could give these away. Greatly appreciate that. So we'll just draw, let's go for 2 people, honey. Okay. All right? Sure. So all I gotta do is say, sticker me please, if you want some stickers. Ready, set. I'm just trying to take and help out. Okay. Yeah. I was going to say, because it's going to take them like 2 minutes for them to actually hear that phrase. Oh, it's going to take them like 2 minutes for sticker me please? Okay, well, just carry on. Your regular conversations, ready? We're going to draw one person at random. Are they all ready? They're ready. Does it look like they're blowing up the chat? Yeah, they're making commenting sticker stuff. All right, ready, set, go.
We got Chelly Hockett, who says, don't take any wooden nickels.
Don't take any wooden nickels. All right. And that's Chelly or Kelly? Chelly. Chelly? Congratulations. Get with us in the comment section down below, or not comment section, the description, through the contact link, and we will send you some stickers. Greatly appreciate you being here. All right, and let's draw for person number 2. Who we got?
All right, I landed on Glenn Hayes, who says, sticker me, please.
Sticker me, please. Glenn Hayes, congratulations. You are a winner, sir. Just get through that contact link. Greatly appreciate it. We'll give some more of those away a little bit later here. Got to get something else good and hot. Just did it again. That's probably so loud on the mic. Like, pow! People are like, my ears, they bleed. I do apologize, people, for my nonsense. I'm sorry that I'm not sorry. That's always the right way to apologize. You just tell people, I'm so sorry I'm not sorry. Because it's probably the most truthful way of apologizing. Say, I am so sorry I'm not sorry. Gotta get this thing down in there.
Question, ideal hammer weights.
Ooh, well, that is a question, isn't it? Hotly contested, hotly debated amongst blacksmiths across centuries. What hammer should you be swinging? As light as humanly possible in my shop. So without losing too much mass where you can't get the work done. So I like a lightweight hammer on a long hammer handle. I like using the fast lightning blows of hammering on a piece versus big, heavy, thudding type blows with a heavier hand hammer. So I like using a weight swung from further away from a fulcrum point to develop a lot more velocity and therefore a lot more energy and kinetic energy. Same way or similar to what you would do with a big heavy hammer swung with a lot less distance from the fulcrum point. So that is my preference. When I say hammer weight, I swing all day, every day, 365 practically, a 1 3/4 pound hammer. So that's my choice. Could probably do 2 pound if you're buying commercially bought. That's just fine. 2 pound would be great. But that is a really good beginning weight to start off with. If you want to progress to heavier and heavier hammers, you're going to have to build up muscle to swing a heavier and heavier hammer. You know, you're not going to go to the gym and just bench 300 right off the rack to begin with unless you're a monster of a man or a woman already. You're not going to be able to do that. So you have to work up to it. Big, heavy hammers, it's the same thing, and they require a completely different technique to avoid injury. Just like when you get heavier and heavier weights, put on a bar or if you're heavy bar or whatever you're trying to do, you have to handle it differently. Your form has to be a lot better. So, because there's upping the risk of damage to yourself. Another way of saying it, your hammer weight should be easily comfortable to pick up by the end of the hammer handle, the way God intended people to take and pick up a hammer in the first place, which was at the end of the hammer handle. So if you can lift it out here with no problem and not feel any fatigue, then that's the right weight hammer probably for you and your current muscle. If you're picking it up and you're like, oh God, oh man, that really sucks. Oh man, that's really hard. That's probably not the correct hammer size for you. Hopefully that answers it. And pretty good.
Brian McCrea asked if you do much high carbon work or mostly mild.
Mostly mild steel. I do mostly mild steel, but the high carbon work that I do, there it is. Mostly mild steel, but the high carbon work that I do is all tooling. It's tooling related. So hammers, some tongs, usually not for customers, usually in-house. Hammers I do for customers or clients that, select people who want them. And then like I make my own power hammer dies and tooling and so on and so forth. So that is the bulk of my high carbon steel work. But in my regular everyday professional life, it's all mild steel. Mild steel or copper is what I work with mostly. Great questions. Great questions. This is still heating up. It's almost there. All right. Anything else I need to address? We're good?
Sure. I mean, there's always kind of the standard people who are just dropping in, the weight of your anvil, and of course, what type of fuel you're using.
Okay. So I am using coke. Sorry you guys can't see it. I'm thinking about possibly shifting the camera next live stream over a little bit further and kind of getting more of a parallaxed look on the thing. But I'm using a coal forge, a green coal forge, and I'm burning coke in it. So metallurgical grade coke. Olga here, as I've affectionately named her, is a 465 pound Preheating anvil. And yeah. Owned it now for what, 2 years, 3 years? Yeah, two-ish years. So, yep, love every minute since I bought it. So, except moving her. Gosh, I hate moving this anvil. So, but we survive it. Brutally so, but we survive it. So, all right.
Graham, it's good to see you, and thank you for the super chat.
Graham, thank you, brother.
Victor Israel Salas Gonzalez says, "Do you think an old file can be forged and used as a screwdriver, or could it be used as something different?"
An old file? I imagine an old file could be used, forged as a screwdriver. That's fine. An old file could be made into a lot of different things. Really, your creativity is your limit when it comes to that. So usually files are used for like bitting and axes, or some people use them for blades. You can take a file, if you get all the teeth out of it and stuff, you can forge it out and turn it into spring for different mechanisms, things like that. Striking plates for frizzen plates on muskets and things of that nature. So yeah, there's a lot of uses. It's basically just high carbon steel in file format. So whatever you can do with high carbon steel, a lot of times you can do with a file. All right, we ready, Jess? Let's go to the anvil, please. All right, so I've set up a stand here. We'll see if it's good enough to do what I need it to do. We'll see if this is the right way of doing it or not. We'll find out real shortly. All right, go onto this hole first. A second. Got to direct it so I'm not getting this thing crooked. Look for my bullseye. There's my slug. All right, so we've got one done. Because I had to monkey around and find the right position for this, which I need to lower it a little bit more. That ate up a little bit of time, so I couldn't get two of them done at once. So I have to find the better position for this now. That'll work fine. So it'll come right to here. And it looks like that'll work out okay. And drop it just a little bit more. There we go. That'll have it perfectly on the anvil where I can punch now that back side. So we'll go ahead and put that back in the fire. Get it hot. Working with longer pieces is always a little bit more difficult, but still fun. Still fun, still rewarding.
We have a question from Fingers Crossed Illusions. Says, "I am a new blacksmith. What would you suggest to do over and over to build basic skills?"
Glad you asked. Watch my Fundamentals Illustrated video or my entire Fundamentals playlist. You need to work on those over and over and over and over and over and over again. Make a taper, cut it off. 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 Make it to spec. Make it to spec each time. Make 1-inch tapers. Make 2-inch tapers. Make 3-inch tapers. Again, don't measure as you go. Use eye and gauge what size that is. And then measure it after you've said, okay, that should be 1 inch. Then check yourself to see if you're right. Again and again and again and again. Bends. Bend stuff in rings, hoops, right angles, 90s, upset corners. Practice those processes again and again and again, and that will really help elevate your ironwork in the long run when you undertake projects. Because projects that you're seeing me do right now are just an amalgamation of all of those. It's just a blend of all of the fundamentals. That's all it is. So once you have the fundamentals under your belt, you can really make whatever you feel like after that. If you skip on the fundamentals, then you become like some of the people you see on TV that can't put a point on the end of a bar unless it's 50 heats later. So you don't want to be that. If you want to progress, you have to, don't shortchange the fundamentals. So practice fundamentals, 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 fundamentals. So hopefully that's straight enough. And I hope that'll encourage you, not just because I want you to watch my videos, which is great, but they're there as a resource and a tool. Fundamentals, fundamentals, fundamentals. If you get those in, you can do anything you want. It's absurd the amount of people out there who have a finished result that they can be proud of. They've ground it enough, they've shined it enough, they've added enough weld and filler stuff in there, they've added enough stuff to it to make it look like it's an interesting project at the end of the deal, but it took them a month to make something that is relatively simple to make. It's because they don't have a foundation in the fundamentals. You'll see it all the time. There's no reason why a bladesmith shouldn't know how to bend steel. No excuse whatsoever. Not one. That could be a rant in and of itself. There's no excuse why a bladesmith shouldn't be able to put a taper on the end of a bar, like within one heat. I have no clue why it takes these bladesmiths 3, 4, 5 heats to make a point on the end of a flat bar. It drives me crazy. It just does. It's because of a lack in the fundamentals. That's it. Lack in the fundamentals. So every ornamental smith is taught fundamentals. If you go to college for it, you're going to be taught fundamentals. You go to a class for blacksmithing, beginner blacksmithing, you're going to be taught fundamentals before you go on to anything, because they are part of the entirety of the process. So it's very important for all beginners, intermediates, advanced people alike, or wherever you consider yourself on the totem pole, to take and practice your fundamentals on a regular basis to keep it sharp and keep your work looking sharper. That's my opinion. I'm highly opinionated about that. But
Here's a good follow-up question.
Hopefully that's helpful.
Yeah.
Hopefully that's helpful.
Yes, Owen sent a super chat, and his question kind of goes along the same lines. He says, I'm just getting into the craft. What do you suggest for a first-timer's tools?
First-timer's tools? Hammer, simple pair of tongs, could be wolf jaw tongs or plain bar stock tongs, depending on that way. You need a good heat source. If you can get a gas forge or a coal forge right off the bat, that's good. If you're just doing it in the dirt, that's fine too. You just need to get a good, reliable heat source that you're not fighting all the time, and go from there. Punch, a chisel that you sharpen really sharp, a cold chisel that's just a basic blunt cold chisel, and yeah, that's it. You should be off and running. You should be off and running with something like that. You can basically, from that basic tool set, you can build just about anything else. Anvil is also important, but you can hammer on another hammer stuck in the dirt if you need to get started. I will suggest that you do get a hammer, that you do get an anvil. There's a lot of great options like this, a Chayo out there that, you know, is super cheap. Wish I had the opportunity to have something like that available for me when I first got started. You know, there's a lot of cheap anvil options out there that you can get started, even if it's a Harbor Freight anvil. Something that's an object that you can beat upon is kind of the main point. And then you can always progress and get better from there. But yeah, beginner tools, that's kind of your basic run. You need a pair of tongs to hold hot steel. You need a hammer to beat hot steel. You need something to beat upon, an anvil of some kind. And you need some punches and chisels to do the basic work, to be able to operate and do the fundamental practices, different forging practices to practice. All right, we're getting hot, Jess. Let's go back to the anvil real quick. And thank you for the super chats, by the way. Hopefully, I want to get this thing together tonight was kind of my goal. And I know I've been yammering on, and we got some giveaway stuff to do, so.
Someone asked what type of steel your punch is made out of.
My what?
Your punch?
To be honest with you, I don't know what this punch is made out of. This punch was given to me. I believe this punch was 5160, is what the guy had said. That gave it to me. But it's been years now since I was given this thing, so. I couldn't tell you with 1,000% certainty what it is. Excuse me. A rolled what?
Paper mallet.
A rolled paper mallet. No, I've never heard of a rolled paper mallet. Sounds interesting though. Roll that over. Just getting it prepped up for my drifting. Me straightening it out kind of ovaled the holes a bit. Hopefully everybody can see that. Can you see that okay, Jess?
Yeah, yep, good.
Okay. That set back in there.
Rich Hartley asked, what type of power press do you recommend for a beginner?
Press? Yes. Powered press. I would, if you're an absolute rank beginner, just getting into the craft and stuff, I'm going to recommend right out the gate that you buy one from a reputable manufacturer that's already been professionally put together and everything like that. It's tempting to build your own, but unless you have some sort of foundation in fabrication and in what you need and the type of stresses you're going to be dealing with, I wouldn't suggest you building one, that's for sure. So if you're just starting out in blacksmithing and you feel like you need to go do a press, I would probably recommend, gosh, I mean, there's so many of them out there. Big Blue makes one. Ironworks makes one, makes really good presses and options. They're all very expensive if you buy it from somebody. Some people will build little air over hydraulic bottle jack type presses. Those can be a good entry level option because you're taking something that was already kind of specced out to handle pressures anyhow, you know, a certain amount of tonnage, and you know, you're just converting it to having some dies in there so you can squeeze some stuff. So something like that's really entry level at cost. You could do that. They're painfully slow, not overly efficient, but that might be one option for you. I know Eng Yang makes a press too as well, and I'm sure the thing's like 9 bazillion bazunga dollars because it's a super nice press. It's a super nice press, professionally made. Hopefully that answers the question. I built my own press and I did everything wrong that you could possibly do with building a press, and as a result I ended up having a cylinder pop off, break some welds of mine way back when I shouldn't have been building presses to begin with. It sheared off some welds and broke my collarbone. So it's not my suggestion that you follow in my footsteps when it comes to that. Because if I wouldn't have moved my head when I did, it could have laid me wide open, and I might not be here today teaching with you. So there's an extreme amount of pressure when it comes to presses. So it's worth either knowing what you're doing with them. Of course, I'm way better at welding now. I have a way deeper understanding of what I'm doing because I've fabricated for quite a few years now instead. So I know what I'm doing. If I were to rebuild another one, I wouldn't even attempt doing it the same way that I've already done one. So in fact, mine's sitting out of commission because on the last time I used my press, I saw some stress fractures happening right along the weld, which is a result most likely from porosity inside the weld. So it's sitting out of commission, waiting to be cut with a cutting torch and to be rebuilt into something else, an actual press body that I could stand by and you know, not die. That's always a good thing. Not dying is very good, ladies and gentlemen. If you need to be told that, you might want to reassess a few things. Oh. What's going on there, Baydol?
Yes, Possum Sausage says, I'm making a rolled paper mallet right now just for the fun of it, and I'm going to send it to you guys. I'd like Roy to do some destruction testing on it to see if it holds up.
Hey, awesome. I'll give it a try. Let's see what happens. Thank you. Thank you very much. Oh.
Yama sent a super chat. He says, Roy, Jess, keep it up. Heya again, everyone.
Heya. Thank you, sir. All right, we're going to go ahead and drift this.
Okay.
And then we're going to give away that other pair of tongs. What do you think? Yep. Okay. I'll get it right here in my rack. Doobly doobly doo.
Also, thank you, Wild Bill Forge, for the $5 super chat. He says, you guys are my heroes and keep up the great work.
Will do. Thank you, Wild Bill Forge. rather get that back in the fire. Drifted a little bit bigger. It worked. Thank you, Wild Bill. We appreciate it. Glad I can be someone's hero.
Dan Soul says, glad the YouTube notification did its job. Almost forget about this.
I'm glad to have you, Dan Soul. I'm glad it finally did its job too.
Yeah, we were up to 334.
Awesome. Thank you all for being here. Yeah, last week's live stream, they all got lucky. There was only 90 people in here at top. So yeah. Huh?
Yeah, mostly at 70.
Mostly at 70 the whole stream. So they lucked out. They had really high chances of winning things. We were wondering if it was going to be the same for the Anvil giveaway live stream tonight. It's like, well, people's odds are going up of winning. They are indeed. So speaking of that, and while I wait for this to heat, I was paid for a rant, but I was going to give one anyhow, regardless of whether anybody wanted it or not. Oh, is everybody ready for that? Are they emotionally ready? Is everyone emotionally competent enough to handle a rant? Good. All right. So here recently, we haven't been able to figure out whether this is a person trying to scam the system, which is most likely the case, or if there has been a mix-up and we were scammed by somebody else in the system. But we had somebody contact us about being the winner of the Anvil from last stream. So somebody contacted us about being the winner and wanting to know the pricing details and how much it costs to ship it to them and this and that. But we have already shipped the Anvil to the winner of last stream. So we haven't gotten their information yet on them verifying their channel, what their channel name was. But there may have to be, since we are starting to get people who are trying to game the system, we may have to end up with the Anvil giveaways making it be a two-step verification process of some type in order to take and verify with you. So we might be doing some changes, might be expecting that in the next live stream for giveaway items. So you might have to do a little extra work in order to take and get your item to prove that you are who you say you are. I really hate that that has to happen. Everything we're doing here is completely free out there, and it costs nobody anything, just sitting and honoring us with your watch time and being a part of the stream, being a part of the community and the Blacksmith family. And in somebody's families, I don't know about, not in my family, but in some people's families, it must be okay to steal from others. And I'm not okay with that, and I'll shut it down real quick. So let's not ruin a good thing we've got going here. And so I expect my community to be honorable men and women. If you're not, there's the road. Hit it. I won't miss you. I won't mourn your loss. Get lost. If you're just here for the prizes and the door prizes and the song and dance number, you're in the wrong place and you're dealing with the wrong person. Because it just sours the whole spirit of what it's about. You don't win an Anvil this stream? I don't know. We've got 7 more of them we're going to be giving away. Maybe sit around and wait for one of those to come around. So don't try to cheat others out of Anvils. That's Anvils, tongs, any of it. If that starts happening, I'll start becoming like the rest of the YouTubers on the net, where you got to go follow me through like 15 different places, and you've got to give me your mother's maiden name, your firstborn, and everything else just to win a lousy, thing that I made. So we don't want to go down that path with me. Again, it kills the spirit of what I'm after here. It kills the spirit of what this channel is about. And I won't tolerate it, period. So there's my rant. That's like your angry dad coming down on you Sorry if that bums you out, man, or whatever. I don't really care. It just, that was really irritating me. Now, I've been trying to do the best, give the benefit of the doubt, but so far I've got two people, two supposed winners, and one of them's a liar. And I'm not getting another $130 richer here to give away something else. So, yeah. Something to think about. I'm sure the chat is interesting.
Yeah, Daniel Crawford suggests retinal eye scans.
Yeah, there might be something like that. Stool samples or something.
No, don't send that.
We'll send them to the trolls of the channel. they can verify the stool samples for us. Oh. Finally do their part. Something they should be good at. Anyways. Sorry, you can see I get fired up. I don't get fired up a lot, but when I do, I get really fired up. And for me, that's an underhanded thing. It's an underhanded thing. It takes away, because again, now I'm dealing with something. I'm dealing with some person saying they want it. Some person already contacted say that they want it. Now what? So whoever's the liar in the situation, they might end up snaking off the anvil, and the other person that really was the winner got hosed out of it or bumfoozled. Oh. Yeah. Sad. Sad. Don't appreciate that at all. So, again, if that's you, if you're a part of this stream, just think about that. You're not on Roy's favorite list.
And Gordon.
We'll get to the bottom of it, I'm sure.
We will. That's where.
Most likely the person who contacted, that is the person that is most, because they had the least amount of information. They didn't contact through the contact way they should have contacted us. A lot of stuff like that. It had a foreign name to it as well, so most likely that's the bad actor. But, it's sad. Again, it's sad. It's free. I'm sitting here, we'll give it away to just one random person. There's nothing that you got to do for it. You're just taking candy from a baby, basically. Makes you a pretty low human being in my mind. What's that?
Well, Joel Sims and Gordon Farmer sent the poop emoji. And also Gordon Farmer said, #Blacksmith family. I'm here for Roy Rants, LOL.
Is that their stool samples? They're official? Those will work, those poop emojis. That's what work. It'd be like, I was the guy, remember? Who sent you the poop emoji. Anyway, so we try to keep it light and fun here, and we try to do our best to constantly be giving to the blacksmith community out there and the family, and we really do appreciate everybody, and we appreciate those chats. We really do. Thank you all. Thank you very much for that. Let's finish drifting this before I waffle on too much. Like I said, there might be some changes to the giveaways where we have to require additional verification, and it's not just as much as like, hey, I was the guy who won. Like, no, that's not going to cut it, Chuck. You're going to have to actually show us how it was you. So, all right, here we go. Drift through the other side. That's good there. Of course, dropping it, that's always fun. We'll go on to the next one. Good. I'm going to have to heat that up one more time and drift that, and then we'll be ready to rivet this thing together. How's that look to everyone, Jess?
Yeah,
or is everyone still going on in the comment section? Amening. Done.
Toby Joe, thank you for the 500 Filipino pesos. He says, after 3 months of lockdown here in the Philippines, I'm on my 14th plane to get back to the UK. I hope to get home next weekend. Hope it comes off this time. Looking forward to hitting some hot steel. Always love to live the stream. Or no, always love the live stream.
Awesome, Toby. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the super chat. And I am really glad that you're getting home finally. Really glad about that. All right, we'll get that heated up there. It's working. Are we good? I didn't show anybody yet, but boom, I went for the summer do. Shaved haircut. Went for Skid Row.
Let's see, there's a question, are short drifts better than long drifts?
Depends on the application. So great question. Short drifts are generally better for like this type of work. I just had a 3/8 drift. This is what I had for a 3/8 drift, so I just threw it together before the stream. Technically, a smaller short drift would be better for this work because then I wouldn't have to hold it, it wouldn't be so wobbly. Longer drifts are handier for when you need to work on the sides or dress the material. So you need to actually work the piece by holding the drift. Very commonly done in things like hammer drifts, like for hammer eyes and things like that, where you need to work the hammer while it's on the drift, right? That's where long drifts are handy. Short drifts are better for you can put more kinetic energy into the drift and therefore drift a lot quicker. You get less racking back and forth, bending like this back and forth. So that's better for that application or small pieces. It's a lot better to have little small short drifts. Nothing over, you know, say 3 or 4 inches in length, usually. So while this comes up to heat, to final heat there, we're going to give away a pair of scrolling tongs. How does that sound? Good? Everybody's like that? All right. You guys know the drill. All you got to do is comment a phrase down in the comment section down below, and we will draw a name at random. Ready?
Yes, I was giving them 1 second for head start.
Steady?
Yeah, go ahead.
Should I wait?
Go for it.
Well, should I wait? Or are they doing their thing?
Well,
They commenting?
not yet. I think we took them by surprise.
Oh, we took them by surprise.
Took them by surprise, but that could work out good for somebody.
Yeah, it could. Are we ready?
All right, we're ready. There we go. They're coming in now.
Sounds like they're coming in fast and hot. All right, ready? We're gonna give away these scrolling tongs. So ready? 1, 2, 3, go. Who we got?
All right. We have Jim Okers who says, time for another thong giveaway.
Well, I guess I better go to the back and take them off then. It might take me a minute. Who was it? Jim Okers? Jim, congratulations, sir. Thanks for the funny comment. You won the scrolling tongs. Get with us through the contact link in the description, and we'll work out the details.
Aimless Adventurer says, drink more coffee.
Drink more coffee. Yes, indeed. Unfortunately, I don't have any. Huh? Yeah, I'll take water real quick. Let me come off screen. You're fine.
That's wrong. Aimless Adventurer sent another poop emoji.
Oh, man. You know, that probably wouldn't even work because we would just end up getting a bunch of random poop in boxes. We end up getting a bunch of random stool samples from people who didn't win anything. So you'd have to sort through it. What a bunch of punks, I tell you.
Gamboa Metal Art says, how or when do you determine to bounce your hammer on your anvil when striking?
The bouncing of the hammer is just a rest. So it's just me resting the hammer. Excuse me for a second. Are they on the anvil cam? They should have been. How else are they going to see me drifting, Jess? All right. So when I bounce the anvil, the hammer on the anvil, it's just me taking a resting heat, if you will. So I'm giving myself a second to look at the work I'm doing, and that's all that is. It's just a rest, a pause, if you will. It's easier to do that and keep the hammer in rhythm and moving than it is to come to a dead stop and then have to work all that motion back up again. So there we have it. That's done there. I'll just check this to it, see how it fits up. Yeah, pretty aligned. Pretty close. So everything's together. Pretty close to being aligned. So that'll work out good. Pretty even. Alrighty. So now we gotta let that cool. While that cools, we're gonna work on reducing some drift, some rivet stock down a little bit.
Yes, Matt Woods says, what do you recommend as a good coal forge liner? Is crushed up terracotta pots any good?
I don't know about the terracotta pots. Probably could be okay for that because terracotta is kind of a form of clay, so I would imagine that would work okay for that particular application. My suggestion really is a clay of some kind, usually is what's predominantly lines forges with. You can also line it with like coal ash or dust of some sort, like regular wood ash or some form of dust, and get it lined with that, or sand. That's another common thing that people line forges with. Sand is a little bit more messier, so keep that in mind. You may not want to do that as well, just because it's a bit more of a mess and a hassle, the sand portion of it. But yeah, so that would be my recommendations. Most forges don't need to be lined. Mine's not lined with anything. It's just a tin body. And as long as you're not burning hollow down into the fire pot all the time, you shouldn't have any problems with the fire pot going south on you. So keeping a good hot fire and keeping it up at the top of the fire pot where it belongs is where you really want to do. Great question.
Let's see, Matt Wood says, currently I have some clay from the backyard mixed with some play sand, but it doesn't last very long.
It sounds like you're probably digging into it as you're pulling it, or as you're pulling it over. Things are going to crack. So if you're using clay, sand is going to eventually work its way down. It's going to kind of vitrify on the surface a little bit, and you're going to break it up and peel it out as clinkers, and more sand's going to replace itself. Clay, if you line it with clay and you get it all nice and smooth, it's going to dry out and it's going to crack all over the place, but that's normal. That's fine. It can do that. So it sounds like you're probably you're probably replacing something that might not necessarily need to be replaced in order to be done. It's either that or the fire pot might be constructed weird where it's causing premature failure of things. So I would have to see what you're working with in order to kind of comment more on that. Thank you for the questions. Let's go to the anvil, Jess. All right, so on this, I'm just going to take and hit this circularly, just to give it a little bit of texture. Not really for the texture purpose, but I need to reduce the cross-sectional thickness a little bit, but not crazy. So it's not worth me hammering this thing square and then taking it off round. I just need to reduce the thickness on the end of this bar lightly. So by doing that, you can just turn it like you're rounding something off and hammer on it, and it will reduce the thickness slightly to help it make it through the holes. The reason why you have to do that is even though a 3/8 drift, when you drift something that's with a 3/8 inch drift while hot, it cools down to being less than 3/8, if that makes sense. And when you heat something that's 3/8 round, it expands wider than 3/8. So it expands thicker, so it won't fit through the hole. So that's why we have to take and adjust this down a little bit. So I'm probably going to take it down to what would be considered maybe 5/16 or just a little over that, and that's how I'm going to end up getting that through the material. And once I get it to the proper size, I can then cut it off the bar stock. The proper size, diameter, and length. Then I can cut it off the bar stock and make my rivet pin. Oh, that makes sense. Goodbye.
Yes. Gordon Farmer asked if you can use letter and number punches as touch marks.
Yep, certainly can. Combination of them, spell out your name. Yep, you can use it as a touch mark. You can weld them together. That way they all stay together, and then you give them one whack at a time and do it that way. Yeah, most certainly could.
Kevin Zufelt says, do you have plans to create a virtual blacksmithing course to learn tool making and various projects?
Great question. No, as of right now, I don't have. I have over 1,400 videos of free content here on YouTube, and that's kind of my digital courses online. Really, when you buy regular digital teaching courses, they're basically the same thing as like YouTube videos. The only difference is they're more of a structured way of learning and they're longer form content. As where YouTube is, you're getting multiple little technical snippets as you go along, right? The whole process. So that's kind of the main difference between the two. So I have over 1,400 videos, like I said, coming up on 1,450 videos of content here on YouTube for free. So that keeps me busy enough. I'm adding 3 new videos a week right now to that content pile. So that's good enough for me. I'll go back to the anvil. We're going to round that up, smooth it back up. Again, it's a rivet, so it doesn't really care. It's going to go in the piece of material and never be seen again. The point is to take and get it to size that you're going to need, and then we're going to cut it off. Come on now. Come on. You know you wanna. So that fits good, fits snug enough, so we don't want to work that too much more. All right, pick this up. Down. Really, the main prerequisite here, you just want this bar to be nice and straight. You don't want it to have a cup or a bend to it already, if you can keep from it. It's cooled off enough now. Be able to break that off mostly. All right, we reduced that enough. We'll let that cool down. and that should go through our piece just fine. We'll go ahead and heat that bar stock back up. But I'll show you, this should slip right through our piece here. It should be snug, so it shouldn't just drop right through. It should be fairly snug because you're going to want to have to tap this thing in. You're going to want to have to tap these in to get them in there. You don't want it to, you know, be super loose. If it's super loose, you're going to have a problem with the thing bending over, basically contorting and bending inside the thing. It won't just upset evenly. It'll be spending all of its time going into that looseness that you have. So that ain't no good. That end's just a little heavier than the other. Flip that around and hammer it just a bit more. I'm also going to take one more heat on this to alleviate any stresses I've got in it. So this way it'll be easier to upset while cold a little bit. There we go. That goes right through just fine. So that's what we want. Snug, just enough to where you have to wobble it through, but it does get through there. So that's good. There's one pin. So I'll set that on the side of the fire here. Stay warmed up, and my other one's ready to start hammering on. We can take more questions, Jess.
Danny Patnod said, thank you both for everything that you do. And he sent us a $2 super chat.
Thank you very much. You're very welcome.
There's another comment from SC Elio. Says, I have seen some smiths use water on their anvil face and strike their work with a wet hammer. I've seen some dip their hammer face in a bucket of water before striking their work. Is it for scale?
It's a waste of time. So that's my official opinion or position on that. They pull that in. They pull that trick in from old Westinghouse videos where you'll see steam blowing across dies to keep them clean after every hit from like a drop hammer. You'll see stuff like that. But the vapor explosion that happens, that steam explosion that happens from that pop can actually be very dangerous because it's sending that scale at way higher rates of velocity at people, onlookers, yourself, bouncing pieces and things off of the piece that it otherwise wouldn't have. So I don't recommend that at all. Some smiths feel like it gives them a better, cleaner surface finish. From my time in the craft, that's malarkey. So, because your hammer technique, your hammering, the cleanliness of the anvil surface and your hammer, and the time in which you do your planishing bowls, your planishing blows is what creates and develops a nice clean surface texture to your steel and your material, not driving it off with water, you know, with steam explosions. Because what happens with steel, and I can illustrate this, I've done it many a times with forge welding and otherwise, what happens with steel is steel will continue to oxidize at an oxidizing heat. So when the heat raises to a certain point, usually right around 1900 degrees, 1900 degrees, it's at an oxidizing layer, it's at the oxidizing stage, and it begins to start producing scale or iron oxides. And it'll do that until it cools down below that temperature. So no matter how much water you wring on your anvil or your hammer, it might work for the first couple blows, but after that, you're still popping off scale that already exists on the steel because it is the steel interacting with the atmosphere, which we breathe in oxygen, right? We breathe in oxygen. Last time I still checked, it attacks the steel at heat. So get the work done. There's no magic in it. Get the work done. and then use planishing blows at a lower heat, planishing heat, to clean up the surface finish. And then you'll see me swipe the anvil free of scale from time to time, or I might blow on it real quick if it's developing a heavy layer there that I might then hammer my steel onto. But that's how I choose to do it. I've seen that a bunch. It annoys the heck out of me when people do it. It's like a shotgun blast, and it just rings my ears, and it drives me insane when I have that happen. Completely and utterly useless. That is my opinion on that. So I would not do that method, and especially if you want to have to get a lawsuit someday, do that in a crowd of people when you know, out demonstrating, and you pop that scale off there and it flies and hits little Sally Sue in the eyeball from 50 feet away. You'll stop popping scale real quick. So that's my official take and opinion on that. It's a dangerous thing that I don't know who started it, but they should stop and advise other people too as well. That's a rant. That was a freebie. No one had to pay me for that one. Oh, sorry. A little worked up. A little worked up today. Not really. I'm not really worked up. I'm actually having a good time. You can't tell, but yeah, those are like little things that I would get in trouble for. It would make a really good video, and I should probably do it because it'll earn me like 50,000 views, where my actual intelligent content only earns me like 700 views to 1,000 views. Because it's one of those racy enough things that it's polarizing on opinions, right? It's a polarizing subject, so I'd say, don't stop doing this. Blowing scale is murder. You know, and then all of a sudden there'd be 1 million views on the content, you know, and yeah, I'd be hated far and wide for my official stance on basically nonsense. And that's where I would finish out the rest of my days. Somebody would probably report me to YouTube. Spend the rest of my day in YouTube prison. What you all will find if you stay in blacksmithing long enough, you will find there is always something. Always something. It doesn't matter. Every year it seems to be a little something else. It becomes a fad. It's all the rage. It is the only way of doing something. And stick around, the winds will change. Your education about it will change. Something will change. And it won't all of a sudden be so dramatic like it is. But I've been around the block enough to know that the things that are all a fad right now end up fadding out. They go out of popularity. And then all of a sudden they come back in popularity out of nowhere. And it's all of a sudden it's like, you're not a real smith unless you do this. You're not a real smith unless you have this. I come from the time that you weren't a real smith unless you were swinging a Hoffy hammer. And it was like, that was a whole thing. There's probably people like, a Hoffy what? A Hoffy who? Who are in this stream? They have no clue. But if I said a rounding hammer, you'd know for certain right now, because that's been the current fad. That's the current trend. That's the thing everyone must have. And it's just not so. It's something that's super popular right now. It's something that has always been around. Rounding hammers have been around for a very long time. Farriers, turning hammers, clipping hammers. Been around for a really long time, you know. Crossbeams! No, crossbeams didn't just come into existence all of a sudden because they're popular. They've been around for a really long time. It just comes in waves, right? It just comes in cycles. So similar things like, exactly like what I'm saying there with the steam and blowing the steam, and you see people dip their hammers and dip their anvils and do all this other stuff. I've heard it told so many different ways now, it's not even funny. I've heard people tell me that, oh, the reason why they do that is to keep the anvil surface cool so it doesn't temper the anvil when you hammer hot steel on it. It's just, It's just even, it's moronic to think if that anvil's getting over 450 degrees, you've got problems, right? Like, you've got real problems. You know, yes, an anvil can get hot enough that, you know, you may don't want to lay your hands on it, like a small anvil, but no, that's nonsense. Same thing, preheating your anvil, nonsense, complete and utter nonsense. If you live in a place like the Arctic Circle and things get super, 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 super cold, then maybe, hey, it would be a value to preheat or heat up things that break at extreme temperatures, right? You can break steel at really extreme cold temperatures. It does happen, it's proven, it's a fact. But if you live in Tennessee and you're preheating your anvil when it's 55 degrees outside in January, it's complete nonsense. It's complete nonsense. It became a thing, it's a bit of a fad thing, everyone says it, so it just becomes law that this is common knowledge, this must be right, this is the thing to do. And it goes out of popularity, and everyone forgets about it for a while. And then somebody picks it up like it's a new ancient Chinese secret, and it becomes the thing. And then it goes out of popularity for a while, and we start this whole merry-go-round all over again. So wolf jaw tongs, y'all don't know that. There was a fad on wolf jaw tongs. Wolf jaw tongs were all the rage. They were all the rage. And you had your haters of them, the people who loathed hearing about wolf jaw tongs, and you had your ardent supporters of wolf jaw tongs where the only thing I have in my shop is wolf jaw tongs because that's all I'll ever need. No, it's not, right? Like, and then you have people like, I'll never have wolf jaw tongs. I use them all the time. They're great. They're good. But I also use a lot of other types of tongs too. So it's really one of those things, like I said, things come in popularity and then they go. The water on the anvil, that's one of them that I can't wait to go on popularity before it ends up getting somebody hurt at some point. It'd be the worst thing to have a fledgling little blacksmithing enterprise, and because you're doing something that's kind of a fad, or you were told once to do it by somebody who maybe didn't know much better than you, all of a sudden, again, you pop a piece of scale across the room at Mach 2 into little Sally Sue's eyeball, and now you're no longer Billy Bob's forging enterprise anymore. You're I just leave it there. I'll just leave it there, but that's the point, huh? Jessica says, change the subject, please.
Possum Sausage asked what your favorite hammer handle cross section is: round, oval, rectangle, etc.
Oval. So just like your regular, go to camera number 2. About like that. That's what I use all the time. My actual favorite is coffin type hammer handles, but I haven't made one for this because I'm still waiting for this hammer to fully break, this hammer handle to fully break. But I actually like the feel of like the octagon feeling, the more square type hammer handles. Feel that it gives me a little bit more register on how the hammer's coming down. I've got that on some smaller chasing hammers that I made. I've got some coffin handles on them, and I really like those. Again, all the rage at one point in time, but are no more. All right, so now we got to fit this up and see how these are looking so I know how much to take off. That's a little tight. That direction. I don't want to get that stuck. That hole might have to be adjusted a little bit. We'll see if it's just as tight on the other side. Nope, it's not as tight, so we'll just put it through there. All right, so those pins. As you can see, my pin alignment wasn't the greatest, because I'm having a problem with it getting through these other ones. This is going to be the fidgety work. See what we've got going on here. Put that one on. There's a bit of an angle happening with one of these. Just get the one on here first. Make it easier on us. Then we'll line up the other ones. It's not going to matter. I'm going to pin all this cold once it's together. It'll work out, but I've got to get it through enough that I can get these lined. Right now, one of the holes on one side, it's canting it. So I got to figure out how to get that to go over to it. I put a little arch in this, a little bit of a bow in this pin. That's one way of doing it. So we'll do that. We've just about given everything away, haven't we, honey, except for the anvil?
And we just reached 450 viewers.
Awesome. Say they know when the stream's about over. That's when they show up, because they know that we've been on track record right now to give away anvils when the stream's about over. That's when they all show. Or this is quite possibly more harmlessly when they all get off work. Or have time after eating supper. All right, now it's starting to come together a little bit. That together.
Also, thank you, Gordon Farmer and Bar Run Forge, for the supers chat. She said a little earlier. Bar Run Forge said, God bless.
Thank you, Bar Run Forge. God bless you. All right. We'll go all the way over here to the horn, square horn. I'll help square that up a lot better. All right, so you guys can see how all that interlays. Like I said, it's going to take some time to get that all straightened out the way we need it. What do they think, Jess? Yep. This is the fiddly bits. I'm going to probably go into the other room, Jess, and just go ahead and saw cut these to size so I can save some time. Okay? Yep. Versus bringing them out and hot cutting them. So hopefully you guys see how all that stacks together. Our legs in there. As you can see, that one hole that we had blown out to the one side messed us over on this one pretty good. It made this really curve and get out of sync. So we're gonna have to heat all this back up and get it, but that's fine. We've got to do that anyhow. We've got to mess with all these legs and get them right in the forge afterwards anyhow. So I'm gonna go over and cut these to size on the bandsaw, and then I'll be right back. All right. Talk away, Jess.
I will mute, make sure to mute you, because that would not be very helpful at all. It'd be like super noisy and they wouldn't hear a thing. So yes, let me see what we have going on in the chat here. Granddad's Forge says he's revamping his shop, purging horizontal stuff. That's good. Yeah, you got to do that every so often, or what used to be a work type, work table turns into a big pile of stuff that you got no idea what's at the bottom of it. Brett Larson looks like a crazy alternative trident. Yes, it does. It does. Someone asked a little while ago if we're going to be doing any more copper projects in the future. Yeah, I did that necklace here lately, and I did 2 different styles, and Roy showed me how to do soldering. That was the first time, not the one I did the video on, but just a different little 2-piece 2-bar cross made out of copper. So he had showed me how to solder. So I was surprised at how simple that was. I'm like, I'm gonna have to try to incorporate this into some more projects for sure. Let's see here. Ansel's Adventures. I feel like the mood changed right after the anvil rant. Get Roy a coffee, somebody. LOL. Yeah, Roy's probably, he might have to try decaf when he goes back on coffee for a little while. Let's see. Me Lord, how much would you recommend I spend on my first real anvil? I'm thinking about 70 to 150 pounds. Also, should I go used or new? I would say that depends on how skilled you are, maybe. If you're still having like a lot of missed hits, then you might want to go for used at a time being. I think a lot of used anvil prices are like between probably $3.50 and $5 a pound versus like the $10 a pound brand new anvils cost. Let's see here. Who else do we have? Fenrir Forge. No one invented the electric anvil. No, they did not. Bar Run Forge. What is my copper source? Roy's junk pile is my copper source. We've been given some copper by a couple of different people, and also at the scrapyard Roy picks up some copper sometimes. So I found myself lately using some like 1/4-inch copper. Well, it's actually round copper. I think it was probably definitely used for something completely different. But yeah, I've been using that and squaring it up to make some little projects here lately. So take it away, Roy.
All right, where are we at? Top camera or bottom camera?
Where do you want to be?
We can be at the bottom camera. Okay, so I've cut these a little bit taller than the diameter here. So just a fuzz bit. It doesn't really matter. Really, you want it to be roughly the diameter, whatever the diameter is, you want it about that tall, plus maybe a blade width or so. You know, maybe a 1/16 of an inch more. 1/16 to an 1/8 inch taller than what the diameter thickness is, out both sides. So now we're going to lay it on here. And we're going to cold pin it first. So we're going to start our hammer there. I've got to make sure I keep the bundle tight while doing this. So I'm going to come way back here. You're going to make sure you keep the bundle tight while doing this. If you want it to draw it up tight. So I'm going to do the other one now. Bundle's not as tight as I would like, but we'll work on it. We'll get it there. Come on now. Come on, be nice to me. So that's going to set them all on so they actually stay on the piece. So that's first and foremost. And then we're going to keep working these tighter. These really should be a little bit tighter together. And I'm trying to get in there to get them tighter together with the corner of my hammer. But you're going to have to go back and forth to work these together. Because of that weird fitment that I'm dealing with, that is kind of the problem. Because that one crooked hole, it kind of threw all the rest of my holes off. Like I said, I might end up regretting that thing. And I might very well do. So. Okay, get that a little tighter. And we'll finish these off hot. This is just the initial setup stage. There we have it, getting tighter. They're tighter on one side than they are on the other because it's bending, they're kind of crossing, but that's okay. We'll get this hot, we'll straighten these up a little bit, and then continue to drive these home. Can everybody see that okay, Jess? Quite the contraption to fool around with. All right, what we got going on, babe?
Let's see here. Bar Run Forge says, Roy, would you personally use the Acheo anvil for demos?
Use the what? Have I used it?
Yeah, or would you use it for demonstration?
Yeah. In fact, that's what I'm saving this one for. So I can use it as a second if I ever have somebody else in my shop, and I can also use it. It's a lightweight enough anvil. It's very easy to take to shows and stuff, or demonstrations, if I ever find the need or get inclined to do that. I'm gonna grab another shovel full of Coke real quick.
Strickland Kids 101, the delay from your stream, from your phone to TV. Before, in case there is a lag, I try to mention that we're about to give away the item in the description, or in the chat, so that if you have a lag, at least if you're paying attention, and you'll see the warning in the chat that we're about to give away an item. So if you can look for that, even if you do have the chat, maybe you can still see the chat on your phone while you're watching on the TV as well. Maybe, I'm not sure.
All right. Ooh. Well, now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 6 anvils in total. I only use one though, really, realistically. And that's Olga.
I've been using the little 20-pound anvil over by my jewelry station, and the kids used that the other day too.
Yep. Olga gets a little jealous if I start running around on her with other anvils, so.
Deepwoods Forge says that he loves the anvil stand. It's the best, and he made it also.
Awesome. It's a pretty good anvil stand. It does have its downsides. If you're in loose dirt or gravel, that's a problem, usually. That's why I've got concrete. I put some concrete pads right under Olga here, just so this way I could sit on that, because on the dirt, she was sinking south, so 3 legs is, it's okay, it works. It's a portable option if you're like a farrier and you got a light enough anvil. A 3-legged design is a great way of doing that. Or if you're doing a lot of shows, that's another great thing. I'm most likely the finished result of this anvil after years. Once I decide which side of the place I want my forge on, where I want it to be, I'm going to have a stone hearth, and I'm also going to have a stone anvil block. So it's going to be a solid column of concrete that's 4 feet deep into the ground and comes up 18 inches or whatever the height of the anvil stand is currently now. It comes up that high, and it'll have anchor mounts for Olga and all my tools around it, but it'll be stone around the thing. So that's kind of the master plan, if you will. The main plan right now. We'll see how that goes.
Gordon Farmer, he asked, what is the best way to break up big lumps of anthracite coal?
Split and maul, pickaxe, just a good old-fashioned sledgehammer will bust it. Coal generally comes, it's in seams, so look at which way the seam lines or the sedimentary lines are running and turn that up just like you would split on wood grain, and whack it on those lines and it'll shear and it'll come loose. Way back in the early days of mining, they used to have like coal axes that they'd use, just basically an axe, and they'd just chop it like cordwood out of the mountainside. And that's according to my grandpa, that was a coal miner. And the way that they would do that, but they were mining the top ground. They were mining a lot of the top level stuff. Anthracite comes from much, much deeper. So it's not as soft like the bituminous coal is. So I would probably go with a sledgehammer.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. Let me find a question for you.
Is it quieting down? People tired?
Uh,
Maybe I should give away the anvil.
the comments, I mean, we still have 447. Or no, sorry, 455. It went up. I gotta remember. It has to load.
Good to have you all here. Let's give away 2 sticker packs.
Okay.
And you think we should draw for the anvil?
Yeah, we can
Draw for the anvil?
Yeah,
You think?
so.
Okay, yeah, it's been late enough for that. So that way the real troopers who want to see this thing standing, they can stick with us. And those who are tired and got other things to do, you don't have to wait around too much longer. So let's go ahead and ring the anvil, eh? All right. Yeah, so we're getting ready to give away some sticker packs. Let's go ahead and give away what? Say 2 more? Sound good? Sound good to you all? Let's do 3. Let's do 3 more. Even 5. Yeah, let's do that. That sounds good. So we're gonna give away 3 more sticker packs. So we're gonna give away 3 extra ones here. So go ahead and just comment something down in the comment section and we'll get on it here. All right, ready? Set? Go. Who do we have?
All right, I landed on Coal Town Creations, who said yes, please.
Old Town or Cold? Coal Town Creations. Congratulations. Get with us. Contact link in the description. And we will get these shipped out to you. Follow all of the stuff Jessica puts down there. Let's do number 2. Ready? Who we got?
Bar Run Forge, who says, I've got a lovely bunch of coconuts.
Well, Bar Run Forge, I'm glad you got a lovely bunch of coconuts. Congratulations. You know what to do. Get with us. All right, ready? Yeah. And let's do the 3rd. Who do we got?
All right, Me Lord, who says, heat it, beat it, repeat it.
Heat it, beat it, repeat it. Right on. Oh, congratulations. Congratulations. Gotta flip this thing real quick. What we got? Huh?
I was just highlighting the winners in the comments. Fingers crossed illusion says turkeys are people too. Or are you a turkey?
Turkeys are people too. Oh yay.
Joseph Johnson says happy Father's Day to everyone. Yes, happy Father's Day to everyone who's joining us, and we hope everyone has a wonderful weekend.
Yeah, thank you for everybody who's joining us today. We really do appreciate it. So these streams really are a highlight of my month. I really do enjoy giving stuff away, enjoy interacting with y'all. In fact, like, I stare at this Bloom project on the weeks off, and I'm like, I need to go just a little more. If I would have just taken, maybe if I do a little bit on it now, you know, it's like I'm ready to get this project done, right? Because I want to see the finished product myself. But that's why I went ahead and did the tapers in advance. I want to see this thing getting finished, but good ironwork takes time. Oh, we do that. Well, the other thing I particularly enjoy, and this kind of goes back to a little bit of why my rant earlier and things bug me like that, is the other thing that I enjoy is hearing all the stories of the people who are receiving the giveaway items. A lot of you are just getting into it, or a lot of you are just getting started, and so it's going to beginners that actually need it. And I really do enjoy that. I really do like doing that. That's fun for me. So makes me feel good on the inside, warm and fuzzies and whatnot. So I like that quite a bit. And so I'm super thankful to everybody who shows up in the stream, and I'm super thankful to all those who support what we do here, because it is what makes it possible for us to buy, you know, anywhere from, they range so much now. They're anywhere from $110 all the way up to $175 you can pay for them that we get. So they range depending on who has them in stock and who doesn't, and how rare of a find they are at that moment in time. They'll crank the price up on them. And then so it can cost us anywhere from $175 every time we give one of these away, all the way down to $110 every time we give them away. And so again, a lot of money to give that away. All these items that we ship, sometimes we had one month where basically it was all out of country. Everyone who won was either in Canada or halfway across the globe, and so like every shipping label we printed was like $30, you know what I mean? So it's the people who help in the streams and you know, do their part in making this possible. They really are gentlemen and scholars and ladies, and I don't know, can you do ladies and scholars? I think the ladies and scholars is a fair enough assessment, right? Yeah? Oh, yeah. So we do greatly appreciate you all very much. Thank you so much. And let's go to the anvil real quick, Jess. I'm gonna straighten this out. So we've got a bow in it. Those long pins have bent a little bit. So I'm gonna take a rawhide wooden mallet. I'm gonna straighten them up before I continue to tap them down. I'm gonna straighten them again. Ah! It went away. It broke away. I'm sorry, JK Canvas. I have to get this hot one more time just so I can straighten it up again. Again, them long rivet pins don't like doing that. Really, they should be a little stouter for this length, but it's all right, we'll get them done. Now all those are laying a little bit better together. I'll get it hot again.
I will highlight here, I don't think we mentioned it yet this stream. We do have the rules for the giveaways down below, which is for the anvil, that is, you have to be in the continental United 48 states because that's where the seller will ship it from. And if you have to be over 18. If you're under 18 and you win it, your guardian has to accept it on your behalf. So.
And somebody did a super chat. I don't know if you saw that. Well, thank you very much.
There's 2 super chats actually. Gordon Farmer sent 4 pounds, a super sticker of a pear with a cup, and James Jones $5 says good evening all.
Good evening. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
SculptyWorks says thank you for babysitting us all this evening. We appreciate it.
Well, you know, you rascally fellas, you need to be babysitting. Oh. Gotta watch you. Gotta watch you. Get out of hand otherwise. I know you. I'm talking to you. Yeah, you. It's funny, it's because that applies to somebody. I could so be a televangelist. Because I know just the right time to say stuff like, that's right. Do you feel lonely and a bit snackish? Yeah, you. I'm talking to you. Like, you know, I do feel a bit lonely and snackish right now. Oh man, I should try it. This blacksmithing thing don't work out. I think that's what I'll do. Did you get in a car today? Did you happen to drive? That's right, I'm talking to you. Maybe I should try that for super chats, right? Like, have you ever once ate a cheeseburger in all your life? Then you need to super chat. This message is officially for you. And Roy's kicked out of the clergy. Just that quick. That's how that happened.
Like he's staring into my soul.
I could always get like real uncomfortably close to the camera. I'm talking to you. Yeah, you. It'd be were watching on, we probably just took a big dip, didn't we? In viewership. It's holding steady. All right, well, they're all for this weirdo then, huh?
Davis says, eating Cheetos and sitting in a beanbag chair.
Oh, no. There he is. He's got them Batman panties on. Is it, are you wearing the Batman panties and a wife beater? I probably can't even say that anymore, huh? That's not even socially acceptable anymore. Who cares? I'm going to say it anyhow. That's what they used to always call them. Hell, my grandma called it that, wife beaters. And my grandpa wore one all the time, so I don't know what that's about, but. Demonetized, demonetized. All right, try to get this straightened up. And then I promise I'll draw for that anvil. Right after I get this straightened up.
Thank you, Metal Man, for the super chat. He says, your hammer on Instagram is beautiful.
Thank you, Metal Man. Really appreciate it. Let's go to the anvil. Now I'm using a rawhide mallet given to me by Possum Sausage. I'm trying not to hammer on the little swollen out places because I wanted that as an aesthetic choice. All right. There we have it. It's together. Secret. Whenever you're doing something for camera work, always show the best side to the camera. Keep the horrible side that you're going to plug weld later or grind or do whatever away from the camera and the viewing audience. Ancient Chinese secret. Ideal work as I would have liked it to been. That's all right. It'll survive it for now. Until later. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So there we have it. So that's all together. As you can see, that side didn't come together as nicely. That roll really messed me up. So I might have to fidget with that a little bit more. But we got that together.
They asked you to keep your socialing distance, please, when you got right up in front of the camera.
Social distance? Yeah. All right. Never gonna happen.
Speargrass said the only person that should be that close to your face is Jess. Haha.
Yeah. I like to get uncomfortably close. Violate all sorts of boundaries. Right you are, sir. Right you are. Now you're catching on. Oh. All right, I'll let that heat up. Now let's go ahead and draw for the 66-pound anvil, hon. What do you think? Let me go over here, and I'll actually ring it. What do you think?
So by the way, I'll give him a head start. Steve Miller said he was watching another Blacksmith video and the guy was working so hard that he got tired and dozed off. YouTube automatically started your stream on his TV. Nice broadcast, brother.
What?
He was watching another show, he fell asleep, and YouTube started playing our stream automatically.
Automatically? Hey, that's cool. I'll take it. I'm glad I'm a little more entertaining than the other guy. No offense to the other guy. I'm sure he was trying his hardest. All right, are we ready?
Yep, we're ready.
All right, are they all ready?
They are, yeah, they're going.
Okay, so all you have to do is you have to put out a phrase. sprays. We'll draw for the 66-pound Achayo anvil. Can they see it in this? Can they see this thing? Okay, ready? Set. Go. A very long drum roll. Who we got?
All right. I landed on G. Taylor, who says, I want Olga's sister.
G. Taylor, congratulations. You won, fine sir. Oh, congratulations. Everybody give him a round of applause. Or her, round of applause. G. Taylor, just round of applause.
That was a long drum roll, you know. They're really getting the thumb workout.
You got to make them want it. They're like, we wanted it like 3 hours ago, Roy. What you doing? What's your deal? All right, so I'm going to set up the vise. It's back here. You guys won't be able to see it. You know, hopefully you can see it from a distance. This is a big enough project. I shouldn't have to move anything. But I'm going to bite onto the stack, and I'm going to start bending the legs out now. For those who want to stick around for that action. Sound good? Use a pair of scrolling tongs. I'm going to try to put this in a way that I can stand out of the way, and you guys can see what is going on. So again, I'm going to clamp the stack in the vise. I'm going to use a pair of scrolling tongs to get started bending here. This might not be the implement that we're going to continue to use because these are kind of already being a pain here. Yeah, these are probably not going to be the final implement we're going to use. We're probably going to use a bending fork of some kind. Yep. Bending fork's going to be a must. We're so close. Bend out a little bit. Go over the anvil, Jess. Set this down. Gotta get that leg squared up. Back in alignment. There you go. And we're gonna have to heat it up one more time to get them legs spread a little bit further. So go ahead and get that back in the fire and heat that up. And I'll go hunt out my bending fork here.
There was a question a little bit earlier. It'd come up into the topic of discussion on whether you recommend selling your first items online or in person, like a venue consignment or just shows or things of that nature. So.
Well, that's a lot of questions at once, Jess.
Sorry. Just online versus in.
Okay, so online versus in person. Great question. It can be fun to start off selling your work in person at first. It kind of gives you an idea of kind of what you might be dealing with as far as sales and how much interest may or may not be in your product, okay? I do recommend online. That is a bit counterintuitive. There's a lot of people who say that, you know, in person's the only way to go and it's the best way. You just got to be there on the street corner and whatnot, making your dollar, making your hay. But online is worldwide. So once you have a product that you can definitely say that is really good, it's something that you don't mind making, it's something that a lot of your customers would enjoy, I would go online with it. It's more convenient and there's a wider audience base. If you are at a festival or a show or something, you might get maybe 1,000 people to walk through your booth in a day. Just because there's 80,000 people at a festival doesn't mean those people are wanting to come see the blacksmith. They're all over the place, right? You couldn't entertain 80,000 people if you tried. So, with that being said, most likely you're going to have maybe 1,000 people over the course of a 4-hour show or 6-hour event, or maybe even an 8-hour event, you might get maybe 1,500 people come through your shop, right? Online, you could average 1,500 views in a minute of something that's going viral. Or you could average, 1,500 views in a month. But it costs you nothing. You don't have the gas, you don't have the setup time, you don't have all that. You made a product, you snapped a lot of great pictures of it, and you posted it, and you keep relisting it as an item that someone can buy. And then it's out there for a million eyeballs, or a billion, what is it? 7.8 billion people, right, on this planet. So it's out there for them all to see. Or anybody with an internet connection, anyhow. So yeah, so I recommend that myself. That is personally what I would recommend is online. But if you want to just get started, you want to get your feet in wet, and you don't want to have a website just yet and pay for fees and things like that, go do a couple Christmas shows, a couple holiday shows, Christmas, holiday, whatever you want to call it, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, whatever floats your boat. Those shows that they put on, people are in a buying mood for Christmas gifts, and it's a great first exposure to what the general populace may or may not be looking for. So it's a good test bed of things. Good?
Yes, that's a good answer. Thank you also, Brute Lemon, for the $10 super chat. Says, late to the party, but the project is looking great.
Awesome. Glad you like it. Gotta find a bending fork here. There it is. We'll see how this fares. I might have to do a whole combination of things. We'll see.
Yes, somebody was asking about,
What?
they were asking about the project. Yeah, Roy has a sketch in the background there that you can see. He's kind of broken it up into a few different portions of it. The actual crane portion is kind of like the L shaped with the arc through it. And then the feet is what he's been working on mainly, to go over like a large campfire ring, basically, is what it's meant for. Louise McLaughlin, glad to have you. She says it's her first time joining our live show.
Awesome. I'm glad to have you. All right, this is hot enough to bend out this leg, Jess? Nope. I'll clamp it on here nice and tight. And now we'll see if we can't use this bending fork. Up, maybe use this thing. A little bit on the twisted side. Another pair of tongs, maybe? Yeah. Go back to the anvil. All I'm trying to do is get that straightened up. This is not so crooked. Also gonna have to tighten my rivet joint a bit. That tightened up a little bit. And I'm going to have some adjustment on these legs that I'm definitely going to have to do. To get them in line where I want them. That is all a part of this process. Let's see here. We got main cam. Yeah, we got one leg there that's still way crooked. There we go. It's coming. So I got to heat the one leg up and get it straightened. What do you think, Jess?
Yeah.
Stands nicely? Huh? Yeah. All right. Well, I'm going to heat that leg up and continue to go with it here. Yeah. So this bending fork it's not really made for this purpose. We can go to the anvil cam. It's just a round bar bent in a U and welded onto a straight bar. And then I thought I might use it someday for things. I've got it beat in there now, but I used to, this pipe, all I had to do was, whack on it like this, and I could add any size bending fork I wanted. So I kept a bunch of short ones of these with this little stub and a bit of pipe that I could just whack it into the pipe, and then I had my handle for a longer bending fork. This is just one style of bending fork. Again, this isn't the best. This is kind of like just a quick down and dirty kind of bending fork, but it works. Okay, and go back to the anvil. There we go. That leg straightened up. Right here? There we have it. We should probably call it for that, Jess. I'm gonna have to do some heating and some more fidget work to do the wrap that you guys can see. Can they see that? I'll have to do some fidgety work there next stream to do the wrap, and then we'll be on to doing the crane portion. I'll let that cool, and after you're done forging something like this with the rivets and the 3 joints and stuff, since I had to bend on it and flex it and move it, it's going to loosen that riveted joint a little bit. So let it cool down and then hammer on it while it's cold, and it will re-tighten everything up. It'll snug things up. So if it's a bit wobbly afterwards, don't stick it back in the forge and continue to hammer on it, because the rate of expansion of your rivet outwards is the same rate of spreading as the opening of your hole outwards, right? So they're going to spread at the same rate, because your rivet's not hotter than what the piece is. The whole piece is hot. And so therefore, it's going to expand at the same rate as what you're trying to upset a rivet. So don't do that. Let it get cool. Once it cools down all to one level, then it will have enough rigidity to resist the expansion of that rivet, and everything will tighten up on it a lot tighter. So you'll be good to go. And whatever you do, don't beat it to oblivion. That's a habit that people do. Like earlier, talking about the tongs splitting out, you can beat that boss to oblivion, or when you're trying to upset some, if you do it hot, right? Hot work, fitting tongs hot, is meant to be like that last step when you put it together. To tighten the rivet up, you just bam, 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 you kind of fit them together, work them together hot, and then they're supposed to cool down and everything contracts together, and it's good to go. And then it might get a little loose, and you just have to peen on it, the rivet heads a bit, and then your tongs will tighten up. If you do it while it's hot, you're just expanding that rivet more and more while thinning out your bosses, and it just keeps going and going and going. So, yeah. So, same thing with the decorative work. We'll leave that sit there. I'm tired. I've dropped enough stuff. I'm hot. I'm thirsty. I'll take off this, go Skid Row for a minute. Whew.
Couple of
They liked what?
Your haircut.
Yeah?
The lack thereof. Bald is beautiful.
The lack of the hair? Yeah? No. Well, it's one of those things. We don't have the hair salons open just yet. So, see, there you go, hat rack.
Yeah.
Okay, it's done. Never mind. I'll just erase the crane portion. This is what you guys been waiting on this whole time. Just a hat rack for Roy. Oh, but yeah, no. Generally, I like a high and tight, like a cruise, almost like a crew cut, a little longer on top, but really short on the sides. And I am not that gifted with a pair of clippers in the mirror, so I'm not going to do that. My way of hair cutting is zip right off. So, yeah. But anyways, oh, somebody super chatted too, didn't they?
Gordon Farmer.
Oh, thank you, Gordon. Thank you so much.
Fist bump sticker.
Fist bump right back at you. So thank you all very much. Thank you guys for joining us in the stream. How far have we been, Jess? What's our stats?
Yes, let me unmute myself. There we go. We are at 8:10 p.m. Eastern Time, and we are sitting at 394 concurrent viewers and 206 likes.
Amazing. Thank you all so much for being here. Greatly appreciate each and every last one of you. Again, our next live stream will be in 2 weeks, so we'll be doing the next live stream. And in that live stream, for the ones of you that stayed around, I got a little announcement to do. Let me go grab it real quick.
Fun little announcements. Let Roy go over there and grab that real quick. Chelly Hockett. The very first thing I made was the leaf key ring, and I learned watching Roy. I've learned a lot more since then. Thank you. Thank you. We're glad that our videos have been helpful. I mean, a lot of people have been saying that throughout the stream, and I mean, that's what they're there for. We've got tutorials and tips and just about everything on blacksmithing of some sort.
Yep. All right. So, next live stream we do, we're going to give away another 2 pairs of tongs. We're going to give away a pair of bolt jaw tongs and a regular pair of flat jaw tongs in the next live stream we do. That'll be 2 weeks. That's
July 3rd.
4th of July. Yeah, 3rd. July 3rd, the day before 4th of July.
July's
So,
Eve.
yeah, 4th of July's Eve, right? And then we are also going to be giving away this great hammer that was made by Yamez over at Island Metal Forge. You've seen him pop his head in here a couple times and super chat us and stuff. He's a big avid supporter of our channel. He sent this to me to test out and give a little test drive to see how I liked it and give him some feedback. So I appreciate it, Yamez. Thank you. And then he told me to go ahead and give it away in one of my lives. So thank you, Yamez at Island Metal Forge. Greatly appreciate it. So this will be in the next week's live. So bring a buddy, bring a friend, tell a fellow Smith, an auntie, an uncle, a whatever. A guy with a lot of disposable income for super chats. Like Gordon Farmer, I guess. Thank you, Gordon Farmer, for all the super chats. Oh, we do appreciate those. Thank you so much. We do really appreciate those. But yeah, so yeah, go down here. Let's see it a little closer. Yeah, so some of you noticed that I did this. Some of the features of it. It's got that nice little charred wood handle on it. It's got a little bit of a finger groove back here, kind of just to fill the end of the hammer if you get there. Yeah, it's an interesting hammer. I like it. He made it out of A33 or Atlantic 33 or Flutagon, if you will. So he left some remnants of that Flutagon in the face here. You can almost see it just barely. He's got some little pucker marks here that are indication of like the Flutagon material that it started with. And I did Rockwell test this, and it came out to 52 Rockwell right on the nose. So if you guys want a good hammer, and I pounded with this for one live stream, and yeah, it holds up really well, really extremely well. So Yamez, thank you for that. So again, we'll be giving those away. We'll also be giving away a pair of bolt jaw tongs blanks and a pair of flat jaw tongs as well in the next stream, along with all the other standard, we can go back to main cam, all the other standard door prizes and things of that nature. So make sure to set a reminder. YouTube will probably not send you out notifications. YouTube's onto it. They know that when we do the Anvil giveaway, people are going to show up. So they promote that one more. And then when we don't do Anvil giveaways, they don't promote that one as much. So if you want to be in on the stream, set a reminder for yourself. Set a reminder to take and show up. And, we'll have a good time. Hopefully get a little bit more further along, get this closer to being finished. The fireplace crane portion of it. And I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to getting that done. I will advise that there's probably going to be a chance for probably bring a torch in to take and help me with the wraps. It is possible to do the wraps all by yourself. It is possible to undertake doing the wraps without a torch, but it's very time intensive to take and do that, and it's very tricky to get into the forge and stuff. It's really not. It really won't be great for a live stream. It'll take forever to get it done, and might even need an extra hand. So I'm going to take the cheater's way out. I'm probably going to use a torch for the vine wraps on the top portion, just because it'll make life a little bit easier, just a smidgen easier to get those wrapped. So, but yeah, so we'll see how we go. But yeah, that's basically it. So we'll give these away next live stream. Thank you guys for joining us. What else?
Yes, thank you for the last couple of super chats you guys are dropping in. Rob Huff, $10 super chat, says see you next weekend.
Next weekend from a Blacksmith.
Yeah, you should. Let me read this other one real quick too. And Gordon Farmer, 5 pounds and on a high note.
Thank you, Gordon Farmer. Appreciate it, brother. Appreciate it. So, got to end on a high note, huh? Oh, yeah. So thank you, everybody. Thank you for all your support. So, I'll be teaching a blacksmith class next weekend. I guess it is. Yeah. Be teaching a blacksmith class next weekend. I'll be doing scroll work. Foundational scroll work type stuff, or forging scrolls, illustrated, whatever you want to call it, doesn't matter. Basically making scrolls and scroll jigs. So I'll be doing that. And then I have my next class that I'll have some classes coming up in Goshen, Ohio, down in Cincinnati, just outside of Cincinnati, Ohio, like northeast of Cincinnati, Ohio. You can look it up, Goshen Blacksmiths, right? I think is their thing. You can find them on Blacksmiths in Goshen Facebook page, or yeah, Blacksmiths in Goshen Facebook page. You can go check it out there. You can get in touch with Jamie Gear. Guy's great guy, wonderful hospitality. The next class that I will have coming up, it'll be closer into the fall. It will be a floral form, so that's making all sorts of roses and flowers and floral elements. So you'll make sure you want to get in a part of that if you want to learn something about that in a class-like setting. And then I will have one later in the year, right around like Black Friday time frame, just after Thanksgiving, the weekend after Thanksgiving, where we will be doing Christmas gifts. So Christmas gifts from the hearth kind of thing. So it ought to be a good time. Ought to be a lot of fun. I think everybody will enjoy themselves. So looking forward to teaching, and more teaching. So, I also have some other exciting things that'll be coming into the shop that I'm not at liberty to just say just yet, but I'm pretty excited about it. A lot of things have to kind of go right in order for the tools and the equipment that I'm getting in the shop to work out. And but I'm sure I'll do an update video when it's time for that. So be on the lookout for that to catch up with the new stuff. But it's very hard for me to keep secrets, especially from my blacksmith family.
Talk about Christmas. You give it away like 2 weeks early.
Yep. No. Again, I'm just a giving person. That's what type of person I am. I'm a very giving person. Oh. All right. We good, Jess?
Yeah.
Anybody got any more comments, complaints, questions, concerns?
Here,
Faces?
Joseph Johnson says, have a wonderful evening. Thanks again for all the knowledge. Jim H. says, stay healthy and safe until we see you again. Ralph Clark, checking in for the first time. You have to join us on the next one too, Ralph, July 3rd. And Metal Man, our class is full next week.
Do not believe so. They're still available. So there's still a couple spots open. So probably want to rush over there and do that. That's at Goshen. So if you're interested, be the time to do it. Jump on tonight. I can't guarantee it forever. So, all right. Well, my battery's about to die, honey, and my mic. Right. So I'm going to call it good. Good night, everyone. Thank you for being here. God bless everyone out there. Stay safe, and hope you guys have a great rest of your weekend and your week. Bye now.